fifth week of the VCS Championship Series. I said VCS Championship, Vietnamese Championship Series, English broadcast here.
Vietnamese Cow Series Championship Series.
Waking up at 4 in the morning does not bode well for your brain. Sometimes you get jumbled on things, and you know what? I hope that everybody appreciates it. That my brain is fried, and that sometimes I make mistakes. So, Rebel Fox again with Mobby. This time, interesting series. Saigon Buffalo currently sitting at 3-4, looking to try to make that play and get that fourth spot away from SPTC Esports by beating up Cerberus, who currently sits at the number 2 spot in the league at 5-2, trying to close the gap against GAM, who just took out another game win. And if they lose down 3 games, it's all but confirmed that GAM's going to take the number 1 spot in the split. So, Mobby, give us some thoughts on the series.
So this should be a fun one because Buffalo tends to have a slow start to the split, as you can see, 3-4. Not doing so hot as Cerberus. They have been on the up, and they have come out the gate swinging, as is tradition. Last split they didn't really. Last year as a whole, they couldn't really put things together and suffered for it. But before then, Cerberus would always start the split strong and then taper off at the end. Buffalo kind of the opposite. So this should be about the turning point. We see that those 2 losses were one to GAM and then the other was actually to SBTC just towards the end of that first round robin coming out from Cerberus. But now with Buffalo on the rise, they took a close series against GAM. They kind of went 0-3 and then 3-1 with that one loss to GAM at the end there. So it's up and up. They've picked up Guri. They've swapped in Guri. They look a lot better. They've solidified their roster. And in a meta, and this should be fantastic because it's the meta for bot lane. And this matchup is our 2 best AD carries.
Okay. We will come back to Shogun versus Artemis 100 times during the series. There's absolutely no doubt.
Yeah.
But I have a more interesting thing to talk about. Both of these rosters have swapped in new junglers. We have seen Drakthar, we've seen Ego for Cerberus, we have seen Guri, and we have seen BJ for Saigon Buffalo. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Which junglers do you want to see today, and why?
Okay, so Guri has been the most successful for the side of Saigon Buffalo so far. I wouldn't mind seeing BJ back for the sort of maybe a bit more pizzazz and a little bit more of that early game control that we sort of have known what Buffalo to have, but they've had more success with Guri. I want to see Guri. When it comes to Cerberus, I always want to see Ego, because Ego is much more fun. Win or lose, he's much more fun than Drakthar. Drakthar has been a solid addition to the roster now that he's starting full-time. He has been instrumental in their wins when he's played, but he plays Wukong, he goes in, he presses the R button. That's okay, he's done. You don't get as much explosion as you do out of Ego. So despite playing the Rumble, despite being one of the only players who has bothered to pick up the Elise in the VCS, yeah, I always want to see Ego, even though it's kind of a wash which jungler they're actually better with.
It is a really big question. I'm on the train that I'm not sure what it is that is preventing Ego from kind of entering the lineup here, because it felt like the match that we saw with Cerberus that put him in was a defining one. It was a really, really good match, and I was surprised when there just has not been even a single consideration of re-entrance for this player because of how well that they looked. Again, we cast that series, and that was some of the most fun I think we've seen Cerberus have the entirety of this play. It was sick. On the opposite side, I'm actually really curious what it is that Guri is bringing to the table that Saigon Buffalo feels like they are lacking. Because outside of Talia, which I still think is the champion that defines Guri right now, you would think that there would be matching champions for BJ. You have like Nidalee. BJ's a really good Nidalee player, has played it a lot over the course of the career, can still play the Elise, has a bunch of the other champions. Now Hecarim's back in the fold as well, and that was like a specialty for BJ. Like that was one of BJ's 2 champions. Like Udyr Hecarim meta, he was amazing at both of those 2 champions when he walked in as a rookie.
Yeah, we're on the new patch, so maybe. Nope, it will be Guri.
Yeah, it's Guri and Drakthar for game 1 at least.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like it's come down to what the solo lanes are feeling more comfortable with this split. Like, Husmet is not having a good split. It's not really his meta. His champions are not super popular. The Gwen's definitely still playable, but the Aatrox is gone, the Akali is gone from the top lane. That kind of doesn't work anymore. Okay, as we're gonna see the bot lane focus comes out early, and Shogun's gonna lock that in. We've often seen that paired with a Jhin. So
okay, you can't mess with me here. They're hovering all the awesome ADCs. They had like a very swift Samira, Nyla, and then also Twitch for a second there, all of which can be played by Artemis. It makes a lot more sense to go back to Wukong because that's been a Drakthar favorite, similar as Levi too. Been an amazing pick here inside the VCS. It is a dominating jungler that just gets traded back and forth. It's a curiosity now as to what are you taking into it. To me, considering Kindred has to be on the option because Kindred absolutely decimates and runs the fate of this matchup. Talia has to be on the board if it weren't banned, of course, as an option for Guri. So what else do you have in the manifolds here for the side of Saigon Buffalo?
Yeah, so Guri has kind of been a little bit of a mage play. He's played the Gragas, he played the Talia. He even tried the Morgana. Didn't work, but outside of that, he's fallen onto the Lee Sin pretty comfortably. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that as the Kate bot lane will get rounded out with the Lux. I think this is mostly an answer to the projected Rakan.
Yeah.
As Froggy gonna grab the Ahri. Seems an interesting choice to grab this early, but Froggy on a playmaker has been sort of the story for Saigon this split.
It must just be that with some of the changes to Ahri as of this most recent patch, that players are feeling more comfortable with what she kind of brings to the table, and maybe the lack of I think kind of top end damage maybe is mitigated a bit by some of the changes that were made. As we're back to Blitzcrank. What?
The future is now.
The future is now.
The robot uprising has commenced, and Blitzcrank will be its vanguard, I suppose. Yeah, I'm not sure why this priority on Blitzcrank has come out of nowhere. It's out of nowhere for the VCS. It's super high prio here. It's a niche pick in other regions.
Yeah, I mean, it's got its place again with like Aphelios Thresh kind of popping back up and Xayah Thresh also kind of popping back up. I was like, okay, it makes sense, right? Like it makes some sense that this champion is gonna get some kind of attention. But like not like pick ban. This has been pick ban for literally all day. And I'm curious. Okay, all right. See, I love this champion. I think this champion's been drastically underappreciated all preseason. It had some really bad matchups, but some of those have been taken down, and especially when people are now kind of blind picking the Ahri. I don't hate this. I actually really like it quite a bit. I think Twisted Fate, it's been played in Korea a lot more than anywhere else, really, in the entire world. So maybe taking a book out of that, and Yato pulling out the Twisted Fate. This is one of my favorite champions. The VCS used to run it quite a bit, and a lot of people were really good at it. And I was upset when I kind of took a departure. So hopefully this sparks another little bit of a meta shift now.
Yeah, okay. We're currently seeing the cycle through from potential top laners for Harsmed. The tanks have not been so hot for him. The Renekton would be a pretty safe blind pick. I'm pretty happy with that. And it's sort of up to what does Pun want to run into that. This is the one who plays tanks. Big Pun who plays the tanks. So the Scion might just come through and that I'm not 100% sure on it in the team comp put together, but all in all it seems fine. It seems reasonable for what Cerberus tends to want to play, and I think if you just put that, you have that sort of setup in the front line, and between the Blitzcrank and I think with Blitzcrank and Twisted Fate sort of giving you the big picks in the early game to try and build your gold lead, and then you just have Simon there as the big fallback to just say, okay, now Sion stands in front of you and Xayah will hit you and kill you to death with her feathers.
I'm getting also a little bit of lack of damage coming from Cerberus yet again. I still am not the firmest believer that Xayah can just like outright full damage carry a game. Not that I don't think she's strong, not that I don't think she can be a primary carry. I have my qualms of saying, okay, if we're gonna draft Twisted Fate and then 2 tanks, arguably 3 tanks with like a Blitzcrank in there, like can this character actually just do it all themselves? I have my qualms about that, but clearly, Cerberus seems to think that they're going to be able to be active well enough at the beginning of the game that it's simply not going to matter. Maybe Twisted Fate's got more damage than I'm thinking. I know that like Rod of Ages, Lichbane is a pretty common build path alongside the Rapid Fire Cannon as normal, so maybe you have a bit more like kind of one-shot potential with Twisted Fate than I may be anticipating. There's a lot more damage and a lot more action to bot lane though that Saigon is going to try to play for because you got the Caitlyn Lux, so like you could potentially shut out that avenue of damage. What are your thoughts on like how do these two interact? Like who's winning after this draft?
Yeah, I feel like the strategy from it's very much does the strategy work out. It's a very for Cerberus because it's a very simple strategy. Like if you can get that prior in the mid lane, you go bot lane, a hook lands, a gold card into a hook into a they're dead. Because Feathers will do the trick from there, and if you get that rolling, Zaya gets to her 2 items very quickly. She outpaces the Sejuani who can stand and Renekton who stand in front of her. They melt. They aren't much of a, they don't get to do as much. That's the win. If Froggy can control that mid lane and control that priority, the later the game goes without a snowball, it should go Buffalo. And these are not the right sides. I'm just realizing.
Even hours right now in the VCS. Oh. Okay, the question is, are they going to stay through the red buff or are they going to walk back through the tri-brush? Because if they walk back through the tri-brush to try to get back to main lane, this might be disaster for Cerberus. 4 members.
Pon has left, so now it's a 5v4.
Okay, this is wild. Okay, Yato's now leaving. Could be the late collapse coming through from Saigon Buffalo if they really wanted to when they turn the corner. They're not going to see it coming. Hello. I don't know if they caught them on the way in or not. No way they're just going to leave 5 here, right? Oh, what if they show on bot lane with 3? There is no way. There's no way. Nabi! Nabi! No! No!
You can't!
No way! Okay, this wasn't as devastating as I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to pull multiple kills right here, but it just is not going to happen. You can't do that. Saigon Buffalo, what in the world? Okay, now, okay. We're criminals. Everybody in this game is currently a criminal right now. Yato also has a potential. They're going after Guri, and Guri is just left on his lonesome. Has no flash. Doesn't have Q. Oh, okay. Flash coming in from Drakthar. He's going to get a kill to return. That, for what it was, should have been so much more devastating for Saigon Buffalo, and it just did absolutely nothing. Equal in kills. First blood, I suppose, going over to the Sejuani, but now going to be way down in the clearing to Drakthar, who's going to be able to start off counter jungling 2 full camps. What in the world was that start?
What? Where was the ward? How did they know?
How
did they know that was
That's what's insane. I have no clue. They have no reason to have thought this. I feel like they should have been more patient and waited for them to get closer to the tri-brush, because then you can't flash over. You have to walk backwards to flash over. And they just didn't. I don't know why they didn't. I feel like they could have been more patient. Then Guri, what is Guri doing? Like, what like, why does he go that way? There's no one on the bottom side of the map.
By the way, Taki died.
Taki died. Don't know how that happened. It looks like Artemis also was shoved back out of lane somehow. Shogun's at level 3.
Died.
Artemis might have died, and that might have been the trade, was that Taki was able to drop the Ignite and actually find that kill. And so Shogun just casually level 3, probably like 0 CS on Artemis right now. This is an insane early game.
Yeah, so, alright, we're gonna actually finally see it. And,
I love Taki, man. I love Taki, man. He's just flashing, auto-trading, gets a kill for Shogun, and then just auto-traded back down the opposite direction. Again, I don't know that Artemis even has a single CS as of that play right there. It's got a while to me.
No, okay, yeah, that's gonna be a huge lead. It's a huge lead for Shogun.
Yes.
Taki does not have
Show me the scoreboard. Okay, there we go.
Okay, there we go. 10 CS as of now. So Taki is now vulnerable. If Yato or Drakthar go down to that bot lane, they can probably kill the Lux quite happily. Shogun, however, is living the dream. He's got quite a bit of a lead with that kill, and he's going to get caught up on CS, but Man,
See,
this is just...
things might calm down from here because there's not quite as much action to be had across the map. Which is why I get to talk about now that this is my favorite brand of mid laner, Mobby. I love mid laners that are incredibly safe, have map impact, and build the D-mats to start with. Just the wave control. So like Twisted Fate's the #1, but Ahri can do it. You got a bunch of other champions that kind of do it too. Anybody who would reasonably take Unsealed Spellbook, that's my type of mid laner. Except Galio. I hate Galio with a fervent passion, but that does not matter. Anyway. That's why I love Twisted Fate coming back, and this is the most popular kind of path. It is going to be Rod of Ages, likely directly into Rapid Fire or Lichbane, one of the two, and then Rabadon's is a common follow-up, so eventually the damage really does ramp up for this specific build path. And action towards bottom lane is what we're looking for from Yato. Already has that advantage over top of Froggy, already has burnt some of the D-mats to make sure that the wave control is in his favor, and has a pretty decent jump in terms of experience over top of other members of the team to allow himself and Drakthar to try to recapture control of this bottom lane. How did he know? He just threw a blind... He lasered Drakthar's position right there with that Q. How in the world does he know?
This Taki guy kind of good. Check him computer.
Kind of cracked, man. Kind of cracked.
Yeah, check him computer. That's all I can really say, because he just read Drakthar. Between knowing that they were going into that red buff steal, and then that laser, that's insane. And now, yeah, huge lead for the side of SGB. They can just keep pressuring Artemis back away from experience. He's getting so little. Shogun's level 5. It's pretty much just your only real win right now is, I mean, you're winning in mid jump. That's going out okay. It's
at
not
top.
It's
Pun's winning.
Yeah, okay.
Pun's up 6 CS. He has no threat of dying anytime soon.
He's also
There's no flash on
so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Disrespect Scion. Scion's got 86% win rate in this league. Did you know that? Scion is the best win condition this league has.
I can't believe Hasmet has dragged it down to 86.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's the only person that's lost on it, which is unfortunate. Feels bad, man.
Yeah,
okay, Drakthar wants some smoke against Guri Sejuani, and he definitely knows Guri is here. There is absolutely no question. As bottom lane, Ron OP is going to get gunned down. Shogun has the lethal tempo ramped up. I feel like he should have stepped up into the pocket to the right there and continued auto-attacking Artemis to deny him the wave, but not going to be the case. Instead, he'll just hold the wave probably in place, wait for Taki to come back. Taki's kind of jumping on the grenade this game. He gave a kill over to Ron OP in exchange for another kill on a Shogun, which means that advantage over top of Artemis just continues to get bigger and bigger. And this was it.
Yeah, this is a nice.
Okay, I mean,
like it's a good play, sort of set up by Ron OP. Unfortunately, he's the one who gets the kill. You really want the kills to land onto Artemis to try and catch him back up, but because right now, yeah, as I said, if you can get the Artemis rolling, no, not gonna happen.
Dang.
If you get Artemis rolling and early onto those quick plates, you can outpace Guri and Hasmed, and then your single damage threat. Sort of, it kind of you only need that. You only need that single damage threat from Artemis. But he's not getting ahead. Shogun definitely is, and if Shogun's outpacing you, well, that Caitlyn is going to be so much more useful.
Yes.
As time goes on.
Not to mention, I mean, you think about Caitlyn being able to move around the map, and you throw her into top lane, now you're playing against Scion. Scion's not stopping turret play taking, so if you lose bottom tower and you end up getting it cracked away, they're right now kind of on the way to 3 turret plays. Is that Shogun with Demolish? That's so mean. That's such a menacing thing. That's a play on a Shogun underneath the bottom tower. Thankfully, didn't take aggro, and actually a decent play from Froggy. Gets a lot of damage returned as Ron OP just barely doesn't die. Artemis does go down to Froggy, and that TP from Yato was so far back, they couldn't actually infringe upon the territory of Saigon right there. So even though it was a 4 for 4, nearly 2 kills going to Saigon, and an additional play going on to Caitlyn for basically nothing, as they're able to kind of scrap out that fight really effectively.
Yeah, I was saying Yato needed to be first, but it was Froggy in place. Drakthar was thought that they could delay long enough for him to take that Gromp, but he couldn't. And that meant that 4 were there. I didn't even notice Guri coming up through the lane, but you just ended up with 4 diving the 2 because Yato and Drakthar were just not in position to actually respond, despite the sort of false security that they were sort of saying to Artemis, no, we're nearby, but you're on Gromp. Yato is still too far away to actually teleport in. The play is over before Yato arrives, and Artemis falls down trying to make a play with the Featherstorm. It doesn't come together.
No, it doesn't. And again, one auto short of another kill going on to Ron OP, which would have been disastrous, as that would have been both bot laners being taken out of the play, additional 2 kills. It is a very, very fun, healthy lead that has come through here now for on the bottom side for Shogun, who has more kills and more CS over top of Artemis as the primary damage dealer. I don't know that they can rely on Yato to do the that they need him to in order to kind of salvage this early mid game, unless they really get like Rod of Ages is going to slow this down only on Rapid Fire Cannon and Lichbane. Is that Twisted Fate really going to start to hurt with some of the auto attacks? Man, Pun is just not letting Shogun live here. He's just he didn't even hit him. He was just a menace standing forward trying to get something. As Rift Herald engaged upon. There is a Taki here, but that is about it. Guri is actually on bottom side, making sure that Pun is not going to be able to do anything into Shogun, as it's going to be Rift Herald traded over for just additional pushing power on bottom lane. If they deliver an additional solo plate, I think you're perfectly fine with that if you're on the side of Saigon Buffalo. But so far, this is just a free Rift Herald.
And, I mean, look, you even see Froggy. It's now Froggy's turn to help Shogun out, because without anyone else nearby, Pun can just walk at you.
Dive top, dive top, dive top, dive top. Something, no TP, nothing yet. Drakthar instead just onto that immediately. Woo! That is a Scion kill in the bottom lane somehow, as that's going to be a big ultimate from Guri to try to get something. Hosmed with a mean jump in is going to be able to tie that up. And now Artemis, he's just going to get run down. He's got no defensive summoners. He's got nothing to be able to prevent this. That's going to be the ultimate popped out, but it's not going to do anything, as that's going to be 2 kills to Hosmed as they thwart the top side play. I wanted Yato to TP. I wanted them to full commit. They don't do it. Instead, they don't get no movement from mid lane. They get a bot lane kill because of the play from Froggy. Pun saw this. He had a ward up. He knew what was happening right there. And even still, with all of that, Shogun's able to walk away with a really big kill on the bottom side, probably an additional plate, if not 2. And then the top side play where Renekton pulls 2 in exchange for what? A plate and a half on Yato. It's not worth it. Make the dive top happen.
So the problem is, Yato couldn't join. He can't teleport. It's still 11 minutes. His ultimate was on cooldown. He couldn't join. And
I forgot teleport isn't good anymore. My bad.
Yeah, and because Drakthar was kind of faffing around on the Grom for a little while before they decided to commit to that, it kind of just said, okay, Guri now has time to pivot and try and be there to make the counter dive. He did. As we play a little fun, we have a little fun with Vision.
Oh my goodness.
But it's just Cerberus trying to get something back, but they didn't have their cooldowns right. They weren't truly decisive enough to actually work for it. And Froggy has just been the one making moves, making plays. Yato has not been effective on this Twisted Fate. He's 0-0-0.
Yes. I think the funniest thing about this situation is that, like, if I'm Yato, I'm like, okay, I'm not rolling that much, but I am currently up 30 CS. That has to mean something, right? And Froggy's like, I'm down 5 CS in lane, better just sack every lane and go attacking everywhere else, like old school Froggy used to when he was on, like, Galio way back in the day. Which is a style that, again, I feel like is unique to Froggy alone. He's the only person I've ever seen that's just like, I'll just dump 3 waves mid lane just so I can make sure that I'm down on bot side to go fight, because he's a great skirmisher and everything else. Drakthar gets dropped to 0 health as Guri is able to kind of clean that one up. The defense of the mid lane turret is going to get some gold for Drakthar and no one else because they weren't able to be in range for that one. So it is 2 plates over to Drakthar, but that's it. There is nothing else to be had. It looks like a Hextech Soul is going to be in the pockets of Saigon Buffalo here any second now as they're able to clean that one up. No hook is going to land. Now Rano, he actually gets rooted up. That's a really solid play despite some of the plays come through. And now are we fighting? Shogun kind of wants the smoke right now as he's going to look to try and fight against Yato into that ward. They're going to push up. They're not going to get much in mid lane. Instead, he's just going to be the dragon.
At this point, Ron has to go over Frost, given he's stolen 3 kills now. He has to be the guy. He's got all the gold. He has to put it to use. I'm sorry. Just... Come on. At least he
pretty
didn't,
ridiculous.
It's an okay attempt here. Like, you blow the...
Taki is so mean, man. Like, look at that. He dodged the hook in the midst of all of it, threw an ultimate. This is what I was confused about, because Taki lands this, and then how is it that Froggy got punished? Was it like a flash, like, auto? Yeah, I think it was a stun card from Yato. Did he fight? Yeah, that's what it was. And then the Everfrost came out. Okay, Yato's a little bit of a trickster. He's a guy. He's
you saw at the start of the play the gold card to force the cleanse as well, so he didn't have it available for that second engage, which, it gets that kill. Unfortunately, it goes onto the Blitzcrank, but it is much needed goal for the side of Cerberus. They're keeping it relatively close at just over just under 2K rather.
Mhm.
But it's still just where the gold kind of is. There's a lot of it on the Blitzcrank compared to, well, it's a fed Caitlyn. It's now a pretty fed Crocodile. It's a decently fed pretty much everybody except Lux. And Lux is doing okay for herself with assists. So
yeah,
that's not what
it's Guardian. It's a Guardian Lux, and also I think it's very likely that it's going to end up being Imperial Mandate Lux too, which I'm a very, very big fan of, because one E across the team literally just drops like 800 free damage for nothing, which is kind of awesome, and it means that you don't have to have any expensive itemization. There's no Ludens in that. There's no Everfrost in that you have to dump. Instead, it's a relatively cheap support item cost that you can just continue into the rest of your build and not worry about too heavily, which, again, I'm a big fan of. I think that's great, and I think that's what Taki's going to go for in a game like this. As I'm a little surprised that Shogun and Taki haven't been able to make a way to topside yet. You could have easily thrown Hosmed in the mid lane to try to hold back Artemis. Maybe they're just trying to deny Artemis any access to plates instead, so they're just like, okay, you match our bot lane in mid lane, or we're going to push down mid lane with our Caitlyn. And that's locking Artemis in a bit of a box where it's like, yes, he's able to farm consistently, but he's not able to over-farm by any standard, not able to find any freestanding gold, and it's preventing their damage dealer from doing anything. That is to say, if Froggy doesn't just kill him.
Yeah, Froggy gonna make an attempt. It forces the Featherstorm, but nothing else. No clans, no flash. And with that, Artemis is, he hasn't been able to really pick up any plates at all. The Rift Herald was a bit of a disaster, as everything went to Drakthar, and Drakthar was dead. But so Artemis has been able to pick up his Gale Force pretty okay. He has the free boots, so he gets to catch up some gold. Hosmed shouldn't be able to kill Pun, but maybe if they
that is the one thing that will probably cause strife in the mid game here for Saigon Buffalo, is that there has been nothing to slow down Pun. Pun is really strong on second item, will likely be very difficult to get through, even for Caitlyn, because Caitlyn's power trough comes in that area. And maybe that's why Cerberus, I think, is trying to go down a bit of a fight. Did Guri steal that? No, he didn't. Okay, he's not able to get anything. Sion is going to be denied. He's going to try to push Shogun back. He's actually getting absolutely dumpstered by this damage, and Pun, thinking that he had a lot more health, I thought he was going to be a lot tankier than that as well. Now Drakthar gets caught up. That's just the clone, though, as they're going to walk away. Rift Herald for 1 kill shutdown. But now, I mean, Saigon Buffalo can kind of keep them away from mid tower, and honestly, this might be sufficient for them to find more. Drakthar gets caught up by a charm. They're going to try to come back for the defense of the mid tower. They are going to be able to get back for that. Ultimate's going to get dropped to make sure there's no backs to come through, as Yato's just going to clear the wave. Cerberus in a little bit of disarray right now. Another wave collapsing. Feels like it's threatening enough to keep everybody on the map.
Yeah, now Froggy just wants a little bit more. He's gonna land it.
That was really, really good. And Ron OP is just going to die. Insane. That was an insane combo, because it was Everfrost into Charm, into Trap, and then also Shogun in the midst of all of that without popping Gale Force, dodges a hook to find a crit shot, and then ends up getting the kill. Really, really well played by Saigon. Execution's on point today.
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing how good this composition from Saigon Buffalo is. If one bit of CC lands, the rest will follow. That's like Pun is tanky. In all fairness, he is pretty tanky, but he also didn't get to play the game. As this is the second part of the play. And,
oh wait, that wasn't a hook. That was the orb coming back. Never mind. Never mind. Ron OP just didn't throw a hook there.
Never mind. Shogun actually confirmed bad.
Shogun terrible.
That's
my
the
bad.
takeaway.
Caster bias. Caster bias. Yeah, Shogun terrible. I'm hyping him unnecessarily. Eddie's the best ADC in the league.
Yeah, of course. Well, now that's gonna drop and probably get the charge. And that will give Cerberus potential to maybe push in that mid lane, try and set up deep vision, and go for more picks with Ron and Yano. They really need to put something together. Taki has decided to do the standard only there is only one item for supports in the game. Good flash. Those mech treads coming in handy. But that's some damage. Here's the gauge.
Oh, Everfrost not going to get him. Q comes through. I think Froggy doesn't have any more ult charges as Guri tries to run after him as well. That's going to force out Artemis. Artemis, out of complete fairness, any other ADC would have had to burn at least a summoner by now. And Artemis has not dropped a summoner for like the last 10 minutes of this game. Has only used the ultimate to get out of dodge, which is like, that's miraculous to me. I don't know how. I know Gale Force has also been used, but the fact that no Flash or Cleanse has been drawn out of this player for like 5 to 10 minutes of game speaks to the level that Artemis can play at. But again, the issue is that he's locked in mid lane. There's no additional gold there. Yes, you're picking up minions. You're probably matched. It's like 35, 40 minions. That has been the advantage for Shogun in terms of farm, and that hasn't risen in the last 10 minutes of the game. Does not matter because there's no extra goal. The Artemis is not catching up at all. Even if they're on the exact same pace, which is not the case at all, even if they were on the exact same pace, there'd be no advantage for Artemis that's growing at any point. So they're doing a good job of denying Cerberus's win condition, collecting some of the neutral objectives on the map, and slowly just ramping up this Caitlyn to be a monster.
Yeah, and we're definitely hitting the point of where the no damage is sort of shining through from Cerberus. We have a rapid fire cannon coming in from Yado. That's not really going to be damage at all. Artemis
won't it?
No, it won't. It's not a damage item. I'm afraid to say. And Artemis is extremely delayed on his quick blades. And if you look at the other side, Guri has his Radiant Virtue. He has actually built tanky. He hasn't gone for the Warmogs. Hasmed is a little bit off on his Gore Drinker, but once that's in, he will be pretty tanky himself. And that's just not really an angle for Cerberus to cut through them unless they catch them way out of position with a hook or something. But SGB, other than Hasmed, SGB are just sort of grouping up as a four stack and not letting anybody come near them or set up any angle to pick them off.
Unique. Oh, actually, ultimate comes through. It's going to burn the cleanse of Yada. Unique sharpshooter. When fully energized, your next attack deals 120 bonus attack magic damage.
That's not real damage.
I bet you feel ridiculous.
That's not real damage.
You feel ridiculous right now.
I can't believe you'd read a tooltip at me. I'm so betrayed.
It absolutely tooltipped upon. Yes. Yeah, it's not much damage. It's some attack speed, which does help with the passive procs. Drakthar is currently walking into his death right now. Oh, actually, they walked out of that brush, which is unfortunate because they could have caught a Drakthar for basically free. But it's not going to matter. Froggy is in the try brush. You could catch Drakthar if he does. Wow, Drakthar just pulled like 3 wards with this one sweeper. That was some value he got out of that sweeper as he's able to clean out all of this jungle, and they should be able to have an approach over to the Baron if necessary. Froggy sneaking his way through, finding a little pizzazz angle here, potentially on Artemis. Artemis just took a ridiculous amount of damage. I think it was just Taki that hit him right there. Ooh, over the wall, blocked. Does Ron OP. That hook went into absolutely nowhere, as that's not going to be anything. There are 4 members here, though. I think it was a TP and an ultimate from Yado forced out, just so that they don't lose mid-tower. Man, Cerberus is holding on for dear life at this point.
Man, it was really nice of Cerberus to let a blind person play support for them, because there was nobody even close to that hook. It's just gone by feeling, I guess. I don't even think, like, that was out of a prediction for flash range.
Absolute flick on Ayato is going to get a flash and nothing else.
Yeah, that's just a flash, but yeah, that is like the second or third hook Ron has just thrown completely into
just
none.
Random opposite direction, yeah.
He's looking for lions. That's all I can say. But he wants to be finding buffaloes. That's what he should be doing.
Yeah, there's a saying in American football where there's I don't know how else to say this. Basically, there's somebody trying to catch the ball and there's somebody trying to defend them from catching the ball. And when a receiver drops it, it's called hearing footsteps. It's when you think you're going to get hit as soon as the ball gets into your hands. And it feels like that's been Ron OP's syndrome. Is like he gets rooted, he gets stuck in place, he feels like he's going to die. Is he's just random tossing abilities to try to see if he can hit something. And hearing footsteps, if you will, is my analogy I'm trying to make. I know it's not going to make sense to a lot of people, but anybody who understands, understands. So I'll take those people. Feel free to shout out in the chat if you understood that reference.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I look at Gridiron and repeatedly go, this makes no sense.
Gridiron.
As pun? That's a name for American football.
Yeah, Gridiron's also the name of a Rocket League game mode that's based on American football. So I thought that's what you were referencing, and I was about to get into a deep conversation about Gridiron, but
no, I only know basic Rocket League where it's the football but the soccer edition.
Man, we love having multiple nationalities on broadcast. It makes talking about sports super easy. Oh wow, okay, Guri was just kind of chilling there. Is Round OP finally able to? Oh wait, that wasn't Round OP. That was in fact Hosmet, who was chilling there on the Renekton looking for something. Maybe now they're going to walk forward. Yato has a potential for a gold card. Is going to be able to get Guri knocked up in the midst of everything. Pun's going to take that ultimate from Shogun, because that's going to be a decent charm thrown by Froggy. Not able to tag anybody, but the damage on the way back is going to do plenty. Flash onto the gold card is going to catch up Froggy, who's going to be stuck in place, has to go into Zonia's, as there's no entrance for Shogun and Taki, as that's a lot of the damage that just is not able to access the fight at all. Cerberus finally finds a bit of Requiem in the midst of all of this, and now it's going to run at Baron, try to make something happen.
Yeah, they managed to find that angle on them, and the run down CC is really great from Cerberus. The constant gold cards, the constant hooks, and the follow-up from Pun when either of those land. It's really strong to turn one pick into multiple. They're not going to be able to do the Baron.
They never even brought Shogun over here. Shogun isn't really taking it down. He just doesn't care. They're so terrified of everybody else. It just didn't matter. Yeah, okay, so it was Hosmet getting knocked out. He wasn't just chilling. It was Pun catching him with a Q out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then from here, it's just kind of Yato just constantly running them down further and further. They find the pick on the catch on Guri, but this one is what really does it. Froggy goes back in, and then Yato has the rapid fire cannon, and that will actually get Froggy. The flash isn't enough to get him away from Pun, but the extended range brings Froggy to his death. There is enough damage brought back onto them that, any resistance to that Baron, and they buckled, which they did. And so it was just a free mid lane tower and a free dragon off the back of the team fight that Buffalo lost.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think about. Cerberus able to dig themselves back to 1.5k gold deficit, which isn't crazy. The problem is, again, they don't have damage. They're starting to get closer. That is Lichbane. It is strange to me that he went the two components that don't give auto-attacking damage, because you could have gone a Sheen, but you decided against it, which I guess for ability usage, it makes a little bit more sense to have the AP as opposed to just the one auto-attack damage if he wants the Qs to hit a little bit harder, which salvages a mild amount of AoE kind of damage inside of team fights, maybe multi-target DPS that wouldn't normally be there. And given the fact that they're scrapped for that at the moment, I'll give a bit of props, a bit of a hat nod, although it doesn't matter because Lichbane just got finished after one more back, so it didn't end up coming into play in the slightest anyway. But with Lord Doms and Black Cleaver done, I don't even think that Pun is really in a safe space against Shogun now, so it is just for Saigon Buffalo about being able to set up some sort of line for Shogun to just start attacking people.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck in that situation. You kind of need to kill Shogun because he's super fed, but even then, he will melt through Pun. But even then, Pun is kind of indexed entirely into armor. So if it's just Ari is still going to be doing a lot of damage. Artemis is slowly catching up though. Has his own Last Whisper, so should be okay at cutting through Guri with what armor they have, and Cosmet as well.
Okay, CC to death is Pun, as over top the wall goes just the one member. Is pulled is Guri. Guri's going to be able to get out. Radiant Virtue's going to be able to heal up the team just a little bit, as Froggy's going to be looking for something. Finds a nice charm on Yato, but there is no follow-up, as Shogun is still in the river. Nobody is able to really accomplish all that much. Taki gets caught up with the gold card. That's going to be Artemis getting forward, finding a kill in the midst of all of this. Again, this issue is that it feels like Saigon Buffalo's got this insane engage range, and Shogun's just not able to follow them. And so because of that, Shogun is not able to put out the damage that is necessary. They're going to walk at Baron. I don't think they take this. I don't think they're actually finding an opportunity to make this happen unless they really, really get a good play on a Shogun. As now approaching, here comes the team. Halfway down is the Baron buff. Pun's holding the corner. Shogun's going to be able to auto-attack into it. Hosmet's going to go into Zonia's. Froggy now is going to throw some abilities in. Everfrost, that's going to be a very dead Renekton. As Pun is going to get dropped, Shogun back over top of the wall. That is the tank down. They need some kind of extra damage. Yato doesn't have the range to actually hit Shogun right there, as that's going to be a gold card. Not enough range actually to find Shogun either, as that's both Yato and Artemis's kids basically down. Artemis is going to take the ultimate. The Baron buff is down. Now it's a question of whether they can clean everything else. I think they just killed one. Now they need everything else. Artemis he's alive. Draktar's barely alive as well. Shogun wants more smoke, I think, than anything else right now. Is looking. TP is going to try to find out. Froggy, you teleported like... Guys, they're throwing random abilities out in the middle of nowhere. They're seeing shadows right now on the map as they're trying to find where everybody left to, but they're not able to clean on the backside. Shogun works through so much damage, but it does not matter as the Baron buff gets taken by Cerberus, the gold lead eviscerated.
It started off okay, and we see here, they grab the pick on the Hosmet, but the stopwatch buys a lot of time. And even once they kill Hosmet, then there's the sort of indecision at this point. They're not sure if they want to go back onto Shogun, try and do a return and try and get something back, or just commit for the Baron. They should have just used the time the zombie clone bought for them and just killed that Baron. In the end, they do get it, but they trade so many kills for it. They're gonna have to put in some serious work to try and get it back. It's kind of gone onto the wrong people too. Like, you didn't get any onto either of the side lanes, so you can't play and split the map with it.
So I think how I'm looking at this diagnostics right now is that Drakthar needs to be there when Yato hits a gold card against Shogun, because if that doesn't happen, they don't have a way to actually challenge Shogun at all. That's going to be an ultimate from Yato, and Pun's ultimate is well burnt. They are trying to find some kind of engagement into Guri. That was a bit of a strange play, but they're not going to find any pay dirt for it, so just going to walk away as well. Again, it's just slowly Shogun is now on 4 items quietly in this game. He's like an item and a half ahead of Artemis and ahead of basically everybody in the entire game right now. Half an item over top of Yato. Froggy also split pushing, slowly becoming a bit more of a beast on this Ahri pick, making things a little bit easier to work with.
Yeah, I think what the goal of that was to buy the space for this dragon, so try and stop the soul. They went a little early, and in the end they trade a tower for it. So this Baron buff not really getting them any gold that they really wanted. In the end, plus 180. That's if they can try and get one tower maybe, and that'll help them out. But it does buy them 5 minutes from no soul. It lets them perhaps get to a point, maybe we go to another 50-minute game where the gold doesn't matter anymore.
Oh my goodness.
And at that point, then, hey, maybe Artemis can actually do something, but we're getting to second items onto Guri. It's just getting harder and harder to cut through. And Hasmed slowly building up that GA, just wants to try and pop Artemis, because, again, it's all on Artemis.
Yeah, you have to think also that if Hasmed gets enough damage, then maybe even like an empowered W could shred through Yato, which is another big threat that hasn't really been dealt with all that often from Saigon Buffalo. They got that 1 kill in the last fight, but that was about it. Ultimate was dropped onto Yato to try to catch him to some extent. That's a teleport too. Wow, they are really baking into this play, trying to find something to happen. Hasmed TP's in, Guri loses half the health bar with the Radiant Virtue, and the take of the camp shouldn't be that bad. Actually finds an insane play! How in the world did he just find Artemis? Artemis is sitting on the red buff. Now they're going to find more. They're going to get a trap up on a Pun. Pun has to flash out the back of the fight. Just go up top lane, cut them off as fast as possible, try to fight for the inhibitor. As Yato is out of position as well. Froggy, he got his 3rd item, and now he's an assassin. He can just find Artemis in the midst of everything. They might not have the wave clear to be able to deal with this. It's got to be Pun to do quite a bit more. So they're going to find a bit of damage. Shogun's going to be able to siege up on this tower and make things happen. Ultimate's going to get dropped. Scion's completely out of the fight for any conceivable future. This is insane. Finally, Saigon breaks something loose. Find a pick onto Artemis with this Ahri, and they're able to break down everything.
That's inhibitor down. That's going to be just constant pressure that they have to deal with. This next dragon, it's going to be so hard for Cerberus to work around. And Artemis is just trying to greed for a red buff. Doesn't have, I'm not sure if he had his ultimate or it's a spectator buff, but he has it up now, so I'm not sure if it was up at the time, but it looks... If it was, he needed to just flash or ult immediately, because he just disappeared.
It did, especially given the fact that, like, Artemis, if he dodges the charm, probably just kills Froggy outright, because he nearly killed Froggy even through the charm, with the feather pull coming out onto the red buff with all the feathers that were on the ground. But that was a monstrous play. The top side push now opens up dragons for the future. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. You got a minute till Baron. Lots on the map that's controlled by the side of Saigon Buffalo. BF Sword, probably Bloodthirster on the way, or maybe Guardian Angel. I would almost prefer Bloodthirster here for Shogun. I feel like just living through fights is more important than, like, there's been no threat on Shogun to die, and so I don't think he needs the second life. I think he needs to sustain. His run up, he is going to get absolutely driven out of the fight. Yato trying to find a little bit of something, but both of them driven out. Now that they get a wave in mid lane, it's a ways out, but could have maybe pushed there. You have to be worried about the double siege coming up top lane, and so Artemis has to catch that. Yeah, they're getting pulled apart little by little here as the setup onto Baron is going to get put down by Saigon Buffalo.
Yato wasn't even really the focus of any of that damage, and he still went to about half health. It just on random clips on the side, so that's just so much damage coming out of the side of Buffalo, and it's all AoE. they are not in. They are in no concern. Cosmic Drive now finished for Froggy. This is a This is not the highest damage build by any means, but it does mean his ability to just fish for picks. He is just playing his own version of Blitzcrank right now. He can just jump straight in. Bloodthirster, full build completed for Shogun, 8-0-1. He kind of has actually, despite that scoreline, he hasn't really actually been the big star for this game for me. He's just quietly picked up these last hits, being set up by Froggy, and okay.
Woof! Guri gets picked off, has to flash over the wall. Radiant Virtue popped with the ultimate as well, slowing down the remainder of the team. Yato ults in as well. He's going to find a gold card against Hosband. Not going to matter in the slightest, as they aren't able to find the pick onto the jungler the way that they had absolutely wanted to. Now, into the top lane goes Froggy. He's kind of hanging out around the edge. They know where this team is at. They're going to see them clear the ward, baiting them potentially into the pit to look for a fight. No Cyclone, no ultimate from Yato. Really, all they've got is this bot lane combination of ultimates as well as Pun's dash to try to get in. Froggy's going to be here. He's going to be able to find a bit of damage on the Dragfire. I kind of want to see him pop that. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for, is he's trying to pop the plant to make sure they have more than enough space. As Saigon slowly kind of hiding backwards, Shogun could try to set up some traps to prevent them, but the Baron is going to reset now. Shogun is 3k health with this Bloodthirster being stacked up completely. That's going to be a pick onto Hosband. Potentially the gold card is going to go down. They're not going to be able to knock him down quite yet. Now Guardian Angel going to bring him back up. Drakthar on the side trying to find Shogun, but that's Froggy who's going to be able to catch out Drakthar on that side. Shogun with only one person standing in front of him with Guri, but there's multiple members now on Cerberus that are super low. See if they can get around the edge. Yato now dropped down to half health. Froggy still trying to be a menace on the backline, as every member except Ron OP is down to less than half of their health, but it does not matter. Yato tries to flash, but he can't find the gold card onto Froggy. Now going to get absolutely charmed as he walks through, no gold card remaining. Saigon Buffalo super close to taking this fight. And there's going to be a nice stun onto Drakthar. He's not going to get brought down. Pun's not going to get brought down either, as no one on Cerberus has died. I don't know how this is possible. Guri might actually be the only one to go down in this, and Guri's going to die. Somehow Cerberus gets away with slaughter in this fight. Every one of them lost almost their whole health bar. Shogun's going to run after Artemis. I think Artemis is going to have to try to pull some kind of play. That's going to be Artemis getting kind of zapped. Okay, he might die to the tower. He might get an execute. Okay, he got the execute at least, but now they can walk a dragon. It is a free soul point. It's the Cloud Soul going over to this team, but Cerberus almost just got executed and somehow got out of the guillotine.
Yeah, they managed to pull it back. They even managed to sneak away with one kill. The assist, the execute goes down, so the dragon is still in Buffalo's favor. I mean, the health lead was always there. But the Baron is stopped at least, and Cloud Soul is definitely not the one that will is not going to end the game for Buffalo. It's they're going to win the game through everything else more than anything. But now they can turn back to the Baron. Guri is still on his way, so if they busted a bit too hard, that could backfire. But
they're all
just constantly lurking on the side, trying to find these picks.
Oh, gold card there, and a pick now. Froggy actually flashed out the other side of Frank. Everfrost onto Yato. They're going to get Ron OP, so that's going to be one. Drakthar also has to get out of dodge. That's going to be Yato, taking a bunch of damage from just the ultimate from Shogun. Now they're going to turn back. They have to look at this Baron buff. Froggy has to be a bit more careful. He's been playing on the side. I've loved the way Froggy's been playing the Ahri, but doesn't have the health, I think, to continue this sustained. And now it might just be Cerberus having to sack this Baron because there's no way for them to contest it. They had no Artemis. He was only just now approaching. And because Ron OP wasn't there, it was basically a 3v5 with no resources available, as Cerberus loses the Baron to Saigon Buffalo. And now the siege has to happen. Like you got to do something with it eventually. Like, this game is just taking forever.
Yeah, you just have to walk up and hit the turrets. You have Caitlyn. Yes. This shouldn't be that hard. Just put the Sejuani in front of her. It really shouldn't be that hard. I mean,
hit the turret's forehead.
Come on, just you're
hit the turret's forehead.
You're an AD carry. You have one job. Hit the turret.
Hit the turret forehead.
Just
the other thing is, actually, it's been a solid game of side laning from Froggy, who's constantly pressured this top side, and now with the Baron buff, might be able to deliver a killing blow to the turret and the inhibitor on the top side, which would be a pretty nasty little combination move if they're able to make that happen. At least buy space for the bottom side. As you can see, Hosmed on bottom lane, shoving that one in. Could buy some space down there as well.
Yeah, you probably don't want to play the full 1-3-1 because
maybe not.
The pick potential of what Cerberus does still have.
Huge.
But if you just send Froggy onto the side lane with those Mertreads, which absolutely got intense, massive value in that last fight, he can just sort of go into a side lane. He can be safe even if Cerberus tries to overload on that side. Drakthar is very deep right now, looking to try and get out of dodge. Felt like Husband knew. It felt like he knew.
Just a little bit.
But now they've cracked the mid lane in they're gonna bolster Froggy, they're gonna break down this one. We need to see them actually crack the base. It's getting up to 40 minutes, and with how dominant it's kind of felt like for SGB this entire game, this is really slow to close out. And it's not like Cerberus haven't made good plays to try and to slow them down, but hit the turret. The turret plays. You even built a rapid fire cannon so you can hit turret while also staying far away like a little coward.
I have to say, I think playing this respectfully for the gold card and for the blitz hook makes a lot of sense. Everfrost, and that's Yano, who's gonna go down. Pun now is only one on the front line who's gonna be able to soak any damage, but he's down to half health. That's the turret broken. You wanted them to hit tower, they hit tower as soon as Yano falls. Off the back of another Froggy pick. I gotta be honest, I wasn't sure how this game was gonna play out since they didn't have a bunch of forcing moves outside of Gurry. I thought Gurry was gonna be the hero. It has been Froggy on the back side of this game, finding charms and Everfrosted picks that have given the space necessary for Saigon Buffalo to work their way into this dominating position that they've got now. As you've got two waves collapsing from bot and from mid. You've got an inhibitor exposed. That's Gurry who's going to tank that one, who's going to get pulled underneath the tower, going to go down potentially. And Artemis and Drakthar have to put out the damage to the best of their abilities. Gurry's very low. Froggy gets eviscerated right there. As Pun goes back in, finds an ultimate onto Hosband, who has the Guardian Angel up, has to dodge out the way. Artemis almost gets one shot by Shogun as Drakthar jumps in to try to put something, but Shogun's got too much damage. Look at him! Look at him put out the damage, Mobby, as he is the full carry. He's online. He picks one. Now it's Pun that's standing in front of him. The tower as well goes down as the Nexus is the only thing left. Shogun just has to kite backwards. Yano tries to get onto him. The cleanse is going to get him out of dodge to make sure he can, and he's going to auto him nearly to death. Artemis now trying to find something. They finally get him in the midst of everything as Hosman's going to be able to clean the backside of this fight. He just needs a little bit more if he's able to find a Yano. Maybe they get something. Taki's still alive on the backside. They don't have anybody that can do damage. It's just Pun and Ron LP trying to find something. The Nexus is still there, but they're not going to walk back in. Here comes Taki to try to help the other stop later. Hosman gets a bunch of health back with the Gore Drinker. They're going to go for the end. Can they stop them in any capacity at all? Flash in from Pun to try to find any damage on the Hosmet that he can. Q's not going to come there. That's just going to get him enough health to maybe survive. Ron LP tries to flick him in the base. It's not going to get him in. And instead, Saigon Buffalo finally got close to this game. After like 2.5 minutes straight of fighting, Saigon Buffalo able to find the win in 41 minutes. Mobby, these games today are killing me.
Alright, the game ones have been insanely long. Buffalo, Cerberus put up an insane fight at the end there to try and they delay it well. When you only have Hosmed and Taki just wailing on the Nexus, no minions around. It's that was an intense fight.
Oh my goodness.
That is a yikes, that is a lot of damage from Shogun. I mean, you can see the goal graph. You see Cerberus putting some effort to fight, but Shogun just got rolling way too early. Froggy was just immaculate on the picks. And it was all like man, I don't know what else to say. Cerberus played their hearts out, but it was kind of a pretty much a disaster from level 1 with 2 kills with that immediate flash engage from Taki, setting Saya behind forever. And Artemis, I mean, you could kind of almost see how Artemis tried his best. He put in a lot of work. 35k damage is not to be snubbed. But he was too far behind, and there was not enough damage on the rest of the team. You kind of see.
Okay, so that game lost in some of the early pressure. Didn't really have the damage to kind of back end this game and team fight. I know the last fight was pretty close, but I don't think that was for a reason that was like anything other than Saigon Buffalo got a little stir crazy and said, we got to finish this game.
Yep.
Ego. That's ego with a question mark behind it. That's my question. Ego, question mark.
I don't think ego would necessarily solve that game in particular. I don't mind seeing him come in. I don't mind seeing them because when he's in, they play around ego.
No. There's too ambivalent for me. Navi, are you playing? You are the GM now. Do you put in ego for this game?
I put an Alistair for this game. I put in one of the champions Ryopi can actually play into this game. That's my biggest
You're
change.
still not answering the question. You're dodging it way too much. I need to know before we go to break. Ego, yes or no?
I'm worried about my
Yes or
answer to
no,
the president
Bobby? No
of the
more.
track.
No more precedent.
Yes, Ego.
I'm the
Ego's
president.
better.
Yes. Okay, that's all I wanted to hear, okay? As president of the Dracthar fan club, I can say also with 100% certainty, give him a shot, please. Cerberus, let's see it, man. Let's see the play. Anyway, we'll be back with game number 2. See if Saigon Buffalo can finally get rid of playing 3 games for the entirety of the split, or if Cerberus is going to be able to take us into a game 3 and potentially challenge to keep their number 2 spot in the region. We'll be back in a minute. Number 2 spot in the region.
Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment. Now is your time, so prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise, push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Rise. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions brave, the one false step lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment. Take to the skies, go prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise, push through heaven. They will remember you. It is you fight among the dead beneath the dirt. Or do you know yet? Or do you want it? And when the giants call to ask you what you're worth, do you know yet? We don't die. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise,
Hear the call for on the chosen ones. Far away, but all like one. Come together, we've just begun. Chant till Valhalla comes. Chanting till Valhalla comes.
Back up. Oh, okay. I'm modern. Okay, I got pranked. Producer's a prankster. All right. I bought myself that one. That's on me. Sorry, everybody.
He warned us. He told us.
Yeah, he did. He very much warned us. He said, "I'm going to the Vietnamese casters." The worst part was he didn't even give us a go. So like I didn't hear a go, and then I was like, "Are we muted? Are we not muted? Can they hear us?" And then here we are on screen. We're back with week number 5, our second series of the day. In our second game of the day, where Saigon Buffalo, of course, took game number 1 against Cerberus in a 42-minute slog fest. For some reason, our game ones today have been absolutely insane. We went to best of 3 last time. Saigon Buffalo has a track record of going full 3 games on every other series this split, so I can't imagine that's going to be much different. Mobby, tell me how Cerberus is going to make that happen.
How Cerberus is going to make that happen. First, they're going to put an ego. Then they're going to get Ron OP onto a comfort pick, which is Nautilus, Leona, Thresh, or Alistair. Maybe a Tahm Kench. Those are the 5. And then they're going to pick They're going to pick a jungler that can get into the bot lane.
Lee Sin.
That can Lee Sin.
Yo's playing this Lee Sin.
Or Viego, unless Viego is disabled.
True.
And then Snowball Artemis. Because that's what Cerberus always does. That's what they always try to do. At 15 minutes, usually Artemis has a lead of, half a K over his opponent. He is not normally put into the dirt. It is not going to be ego then, so nothing I said matters, because they failed at step 1, it's a 2-0.
I am really confused why they have not tried to use ego at all. Like, I feel like this is such a, oh no, please, no, please, oh, thank goodness. Whew, I was sweating. Mommy, we were close. Woo! You thought you saw some bad ultimates from Levi earlier. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Don't worry, we can still see some bad ultimates.
Don't get me wrong. That could absolutely be the case. Okay, Lee Sin wrapped up. I'm curious. Lee Sin, like in the lane, has actually been really powerful without having to max E because he has a lot more wave clear now. And so it's actually a Q max now in top lane and in mid lane, more so top lane than anything else. But I haven't seen it bleed through yet, which feels weird because there were a lot of top laners that were playing this just a year ago. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get a chance to see it again soon. But no Nautilus, by the way. That's not allowed. Ronapi's not allowed to play that champ.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I've seen it anywhere. I think I've seen one mid lane Lee Sin. Oh, actually, we saw Licorice play it, but that was better off forgotten. So this is going to be a very aggressive sort of attempt from Cerberus to just do a lot of all-in engage. The cover of the Leona. They're not quite sure what they want, but they want something that can engage alongside this Tristana.
Eric.
And well, with that lock-in, that probably signals it's not going to be top jungle Gragas. Maybe a top lane Gragas. That would suit Pun style pretty well, but...
Moonstone Maokai exists. You got like top lane Maokai. I think can still go Moonstone if you want to. Pun can go in. The Gragas could go into mid lane, it could go into top, it could go into jungle, it could go into support. I think Ronapi plays a support too. Like, why not? Like, we don't know where this champion's going. And Tristan is a mid laner too, and a bot laner. So like, who's going where? We don't even know yet. Like, this is just 3 random champions that Cerberus threw up, and they said, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it really is just a little bit of wherever the hell they want. I mean, yeah, we haven't seen Maokai go top. I mean, Maokai can go top, can go support in theory. So yeah, there's so much flexibility, and it's going to be a lot of target banning AD carries, which signals to me a Tristana bot lane, and just trying to make Shogun a little bit more uncomfortable, put him on something maybe closer to the Zeri where it's a little bit harder to push the lane and leave yourself vulnerable.
There's still a Jinx available. They left Zeri and Jinx up.
Yeah, things that if they step too far forward can be jumped on and don't really have much of a way.
That's true,
out,
yes.
Is what I'm sort of thinking of, but Thresh is available, so if they want to go for a Thresh or... Hell, if they just lock in whatever they want, whichever AD carry they want, they
Just
can
lock in
save.
whatever they want. I like
They
this.
Yeah, but yeah, there's the Thresh. So that provides some safety to the all-in potential. If you lock in a Callista, maybe, then you can't even jump on the Thresh.
Okay, I'm really not sure where their composition is going to go from here. I don't think the Maokai goes support. It probably goes into the jungle. I would take a wager. Oh, okay. Now we're talking. Now we're talking, Mobby. That's what I like to see. Okay, I don't know why the Rel came out because we saw the Thresh, so that probably shouldn't have happened. But I am exhilarated to see the double all-in combination with the Samira and the Rel into the Thresh, and what is likely the Jinx, because Jinx is definitely the selection to probably make in terms of power. Honestly, Jinx is probably top 3 in power at ADC right now, so the fact that it's slipped this far in, they have to be expecting this to come through. Artemis is like the only player that plays Samira and Nyla, and it upsets me to an irrational degree, that fact, but I love when Artemis is able to figure it out, because I think that this champion's been strong for a while, and not a lot of people play it. I'm looking forward to see what he's got.
Yeah, this does mean you sort of fall into a bit of a AD heavy composition, and I do think that having the Tristana sort of as backup to allow you to actually have an AD carry for sieging as the get, because with the extra levels she's going to get the range. That allows Samira to go all in and be the short range sort of team fight menace. Where is your AP coming from? I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing the AP Maokai, even though it is being kind of gutted. AP Gragas is good if you build the Roa, so hopefully we see that. The VCS top laners have a tendency to build just straight tank, which you're building straight tank on Gragas and then full AP on Sejuani. I'm sorry. You're getting mixed up there, fellas, but there's potential here. I'm interested to see where the build paths go, but if nothing else, it is an exciting composition.
I am a pretty big appreciator. I think it was JJ that did it in LPL, where it was Imperial Mandate and Demonic Embrace, which could give some magic damage over to a lot of the full engage that's coming out from this squad. Could also be just a touch from Rel. I know her AP ratios got touched up, so it wouldn't shock me if there was like just something stupid like a demonic thrown in there. Like, we're in the VCS, like, I don't care. Well, I'm sure they don't care either. There's plenty of options in that regard.
Please no AP Rel.
Listen, right? Luden's Rel is pretty good, honestly. Like, if you don't consider that the enemies can hit you and you just hit the enemies, it's not bad, actually, to be quite honest. So,
okay.
Also, if you go Night Harvester, when you hit people and then you're in your your poopy pants form, then you actually get to walk faster because you get Night Harvester procs, which is pretty good.
If you go Everfrost, it means they are rooted and you can walk up to them in your
infinitely, yes.
In your poopy pants form.
Yes.
And also, if you are on your horse, you can freeze them in place so that you can actually get the foot. Okay, I'm buying it.
Okay. I am not.
I think it's gonna happen.
Yes. I will not buy even the thing that I am peddling right now. Instead, it's more likely going to be Pun building a lot more of the AP, probably going for Rod of Ages. Drakthar with Aftershock. I always see Radiant Virtue with this. And then my personal favorite is you go Redemption, or you can actually go a crazy item, which is Mikhail's. You go Mikhail's second because you don't really need the combat stats at that point. You're not really that pressed about being like this insane kind of frontliner. Like, you're not going to be that big anyway. The Aftershock will keep you alive for a little bit of time, but for the most part, you're just better off having a bit more utility than anything else. But nonetheless, we're in a game where we're starting things off. Pun versus Hosband in the top lane gets our first camera look. No crazy level 1s, nothing insane like that. Instead, it's a bit of relaxation to begin with.
Yeah, with the Aftershock, I mean, with the support build up Maokais, I do also see the Aftershock just to give you some durability, since you are not really buying anything, getting any real defensive stats out of a Moonstone, but we do move to these level 1s. Top side clears for both of these junglers. wanting to try and impact the spot lane, and that makes a decent amount of sense. Artemis is not going to really doing a hell of a lot until, well, probably level 6. You'd sort of imagine. That as it is, Shogun is going to have complete wave control, rocket form, and range is just going to do a lot.
Ooh.
Looks like that is a perfect timing on the level 2.
You aware of the
that
hooks?
up.
Okay. Guri in the mid lane, not able to find anything.
And Guri not going to find anything, and with himself shown, that gives a little bit more awareness to the side of Cerberus to play out the early game how they want, but as we see, Taki can just leave the lane and all is fine. You can cheat her back for a call as well, and you're really just hoping nothing explodes in your face before Artemis can get to the point where he starts to explode.
Yeah,
Taki
there's
is
also
on
not...
board.
Yes, Taki is on a ward. There are not really great ways to handle Artemis either in this game. Like, Thresh Flay is not a terrible one. Guri kicking Samira out of a play is also another good one. A Charm can get blocked. A Hook can get blocked. Gnar Ultimate isn't exactly the most, kind of crazy, most consistent to be able to use. The Trap Line can get blocked. So there's so many options for Artemis to just not get hit that I am curious where the consistent form of knocking Samira out of fights is going to come from, as Taki... he kind of walks right past Rakthar and Ron OP. They knew where they were for the majority of that time, so they're not too pressed about what just happened. Instead, just going to continue to farm up. And the Jinx is going to feel comfortable. As long as Samira and Tristana are not just like constantly in the face of Shogun, going to feel okay in this game. Nothing too insane, I don't think. Shogun should be able to work pretty easily from front to back. If it's Maokai and Rel and such that he's fighting, I think Shogun's going to be being chilling most of the time.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. Shogun should have just outranges a good chunk of Cerberus' composition. Flanks, of course, can be dangerous. There is a lot of potential between Pun and Drakthar to get on top of someone like the
wrap
Hasmed.
around, flash, W. Oh, actually, a really, really solid flash from Hasmed gets him out of a really bad situation. It was close. Both of them took a tower shot right there, but it's a nice gank into topside that ends up getting that first blood over Cerberus, as it's Drakthar who finds the play on a Pun. Great. He wants the smoke. Give him the smoke. Get him, Guri. Yeah. What are you gonna do about it? Oh, we got slowed up. I think that should probably spur in the end of it, as Guri doesn't want to actually go fighting into these two members. Although there was no mana on Gragas. I'm a little shocked that Guri didn't want to play more aggressively there, but without tagging the Q, ended up having a bit of a problem. So this was weird. It was a solid play from Hasmed. Got rooted up after the E, still got away pretty decently. And then obviously Guri came in on the play afterwards.
Yeah,
okay.
It looked a little bit weird because he sort of buffered the hops, and it still registered Drakthar underneath him, so he got it off as he was rooted. So it looked really strange, and I was surprised he was able to get that off. But hey, there you go, free Nartec for anybody watching. You can avoid him. You can bounce off a twisted advance.
Sure can. Pretty cool stuff. It didn't matter anyway. Hasmed goes down. Now, Artemis actually with a serrated Dirk to kick off the laning phase, which is a very mean kind of item spike to start here. That's going to swap this lane from being a bit more poke from Taki and from Shogun into having to play a bit more respectfully, just so that, again, if Ron OP gets a solid engage, then you don't have to worry. Now, out of fairness, earlier Taki actually hit a hook through the ignite down onto Ron OP. That prevents him from jumping in, so it is a bit of wind taken out of the sails of the bottom lane. But the neutralized CS does speak a story of respect that has to be given towards the Samira pick for Artemis, as it can jump in and really, really be menacing towards this Jinx. Is back to topside. Hasmed is here. Pun was trying to look for an angle on the ultimate, but knows that he's probably not going to get close enough. Had the flash, you get a flash ulted and then he used E or something like that to disrupt the Q. Would have been enough after all of that to kill Hasmed, but instead just decides to let live and let live, walk away and continue keeping the wave where it's at right now.
Yeah, with Artemis is also, well, Samira rather, is one of the only champions that actually kind of likes Collector. The way it interacts with her ult, it's very likely to proc. I vote. So the Dirk, the early Dirk is something I tend to think it's a bit of a waste of money on the likes of the Lucian, maybe even the Draven, even though Eclipse can be a viable purchase there. But on Artemis, on Samira, I don't mind it. As Froggy wants to go in.
Action. Draktar's already dropped to well below half health. Ron OP came out of W was trying to find something. Froggy's going to get rooted up in place. That's going to be at least one. That's a lot of damage to start with, as Guri's going to try to get out. Shogun's going to try to put some additional damage in. That's going to be the block from Artemis that prevents a couple of autocats from coming through. Shogun's going to try to get something. He's getting excited. That's 2 kills now for Shogun, who's going to be able to kite backwards towards the rest of this. And now in that kind of unarmored stance on a horse stance, there's a chance here. Router Piece trying to run at Shogun, trying to get something, and being no longer excited. Will he be able to get anything? W's going to catch. Taki might be here. Might be trying to look for something. Does he? Q is going to come out, and that's going to force the flash of Yato. This is, I think, a 2 for 2. As Saigon Buffalo able to get 2 kills onto Shogun in that fight is a big win for their squad. Rado P sticking around, I think, a little longer than he would have wanted, but that hook is not available for Taki, so not going to end up costing that much.
Yeah, you see the difficulty for Cerberus right there. They can't catch onto Shogun. Froggy goes pretty deep, but Drakthar is chunked so damn low. And with Drakthar being basically out of the fight, it's really insane how much damage they actually managed to do to Froggy and Guri in just that in that AoE. It's a double kill for Samira, so that is good. You're very happy with that. It's traded for the double kill onto Jinx, but all in all, it comes out okay. It comes out even. You got my head a little bit for SGB on the grounds that Shogun gets to farm the next wave, but everything is a-okay for Cerberus until it might not be.
Okay, kick immediately. That is a charm. That is a hook, and Yado's not going to be able to get out. Guri is going to be able to find a kill. This is a nice little combo move onto Yato. It's not able to find any sort of escape onto this Tristana. Should also open up the dragon now because you're now down an entire member. Not going to be able to get anything else to deal with. As Saigon Buffalo grabbing up their Hex Textile, or Hex Type Drake, my apologies, as that's going to come through. Not to mention a little bit of free farming for Shogun on the bottom side. It was a back that came through from Artemis after only like another wave, so they did get a quick look. This is like textbook. Like, what are you supposed to do here? Charm? Like, when do you cleanse? When do you do anything? Like, you're just CC'd to death. Like, Yato, you're not going to be able to buffer any of that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe, like... Yeah, no, there's no real way to buffer that kick, that rocket jump, so... No flash, no buster shot, nothing you can do. Just a nice, quick, clean kill, and nice roam from Taki. Taki and Guri have been linking up extremely well over the course of the split. Outside that first series, that's a charm, that's a... Yato will jump away.
Yeah. He's able to get away, but he's down half health right after dying and coming back to lane. Does have the Vamp Scepter, which is a nice little bit of something. You have the refillable as well, so Yato can stay in the laning phase. But again, making it difficult. Guri is putting some pressure, trying to get Froggy involved in this game, which I think is valuable because trying to find an assassination onto multiple members before fights really start is big. Fights on both sides of the map right here. As you can see, that is a big pull coming in from the Rel. Able to get one. Artemis also able to get stacked and throw that S ultimate coming out as an additional kill going down for the Samira. Other side of the map, looks like the fight didn't pan out so much. Artemis almost dies to the combination of the turret shots and the rocket. Shogun just doesn't have the damage for it quite yet. Now there's no way Artemis is going to be able to stay. Guri is really threatening here. Has the Dragon's Rage kick as well. So if you don't leave, you're going to be in bad straits. And that means that Drakthar is kind of on his lonesome here. Going to jump over the wall. Guri, just kick him. Q, follow through. E, auto. And there's that. And now Yato, going to probably try the exact same thing. Going to get a fully stacked... Oh, Buster Shot's just barely not able to kill him. Thought there was a possibility of it actually bringing him down, but he was only a couple hundred health away from dying, about 100 health away from dying. Froggy, can he hit the charm? Actually does hit the charm, gets the last W. It doesn't matter, not enough damage on the Q to actually bring him down. It's just another 2-for-1 here for Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, Froggy with that charm actually ends up saving Guri's life because he can't, Yato can't weave in that extra auto attack after the Buster Shot to finish off Guri. And Artemis just getting really greedy there. We didn't actually see... Actually, no, nothing in the top lane actually really amounted to much. Houseman went for an all-in, an attempt with the ultimate, but no, there's no change in this scores up there. So, Pan happily sitting there, small lead for himself, happily moving along towards that roller. All is well, all is fine. So, in the end, so where we come up to now is... Both AD carries feeling a little bit accelerated. Jinx able to get to that Kraken Slayer first because she didn't stop off at the deck. But it's fine for Artemis. He's getting close towards his shield bow, and with that he can be a little bit more aggressive. He can go all in with much more abandon. He
So-
just needs to a bit less
Yeah.
abandon when it comes to walking through tower.
That is true. That is very true. Okay, so plated steel cap should be done after just a little bit of time. Should be a shield bow coming through for Armistice. That's going to be kind of popping up here in just a bit of time. Is ahead of Shogun in gold because of the turret plates on bottom side. Got those couple of kills in the fights, just a little bit ahead in that regard. And so eventually this coal is going to pay out, which I think will neutralize a little bit of that advantage. But right now, Shogun and Artemis both feeling good. It's a question of how well can this team kind of set up around Artemis and his ability to go diving in. Yato's the exact same way, where you want to be able to do both. Froggy getting jumped on by Yato. Not actually going to go in with a second rocket jump. The charm was saved by Froggy. The heal was saved by Froggy. Maybe a bit of a bait by the mid laner here, just knowing that Yato was maybe going to get fooled into thinking he had any sort of ability to bring him down, when in fact that was not the case. Instead, Rift Herald's going to get dropped here. It's going to buy space for Yato to maybe get a Demolish proc off. The bomb was used on the wave, which I am a little baffled by. I feel like you should have saved it for the turret, as Yato is going to end up getting pushed off. Guri is here for the defense. They do get their 2 part plates, and that's going to be that for that play. So even more gold kind of poured into Yato here.
Yeah, Yato trying to just shove the wave as best as he can so he can actually get that auto attack down onto the tower. But nice aggression shown from Froggy. Means that all the gold does go into the hands of Drakthar instead of Yato.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite in range to actually get that reward, but still, it's a very low tower. It is a Tristana. That tower should fall down pretty soon.
Yeah, that's the
And
Demolish proc.
Yato getting first break is going to be will be wonderful for him whenever he gets around to it.
Yes, just decides not to go for anything crazy there, and instead he's just going to walk away. At 4 plates, again, the Tristana is getting decently accelerated, almost on first completed item. That's going to feel good for you if you are Yato in this game. The Samira as well, the dive buddy.
No.
That's a lot of members coming up here for Pun, who does not know anybody is going to be here anytime soon. Wow, Pun, the instincts to be able to go. Okay, that is a nice kick. That's going to be a very nice play. That's going to lead to Froggy getting a kill, which I think is absolutely necessary in this game. It's going to lead to Hosmed being able to push as well. That was an ultimate from Drakthar that was trying to catch Shogun, had to pop the ghost to get out, but doesn't have to pop the flashes. Artemis going to get bottom tower for free as a result. And Cerberus is loading up Artemis to be this gun for the team. This is the OG strategy for Cerberus. We've known them for years, and this has been their go-to, is just, okay, let's ramp Artemis in a team fight. Maybe usually it's on a hyperscaler, but you know what? I think Artemis is always more comfortable when he's the one pulling the trigger on fights and being able to kind of pull the trigger on plays. And so on something like Samira, that's absolutely going to be something very valuable, as I think they left up the timeline on the bottom and had to redo the replay.
Yeah, it's not too bad for that one.
Yeah.
Not much to say. Flashing didn't flash the Q, flashed late, and that meant Guri could just flash himself and put you right back into harm's way. Pun didn't have his ultimate. And in the end, it gets traded for 2 towers and a dragon, and Pun just didn't even lose his tower. He was able to teleport straight back up there. And the Skarkus has pretty good wave clear, so you can't shut him down fully. And so Cerberus just winning pretty hard across the map. About almost a 2k gold lead, about 1.5. And now they can start moving their carries around. They can park Artemis into the mid lane for farm. They can move Yato into the top lane to mine turret plates. And all is cozy in the Cerberus camp as they slowly scale up towards that big team fight. There's 2 or 3 items where Artemis can just shred an entire team.
And the potential threat against Shogun is it's still massive with the double diver, and even like the Gragas barrel coming through eventually could be a really kind of devastating blow to Shogun's health bar, who went for Kraken Slayer to play this front to back team fight effectively. So how do you handle then the double diver? Because like Samira with the W is going to be really hard to actually mess with if you're anybody. Like Froggy's charm is not going to be able to tag him most of the time. Maybe you'll be able to deal with Tristana like that, but nobody else is. Drakthar get caught up here by Froggy. Everfrost going to stick him in place, pops the ultimate just to be a bit more threatening. They're going to hide behind Taki, and nothing will come about. Instead, Drakthar just gets to clear some wards for free. But yeah, how do you deal with this double? Like, who's peeling this Jinx in this fight?
Yeah, Taki is basically playing full peel. I think he's not going to be fishing for very many hooks. It's going to be up to Guri and Hasmet to try and make the aggressive plays. Taki is going to be playing follow-up CC and also the flays around the Samira. That's how I think it's going to pan out. Maybe Taki will prove me wrong. He's definitely been known to. He's definitely had some insane plays. But all in all, but I feel just with what options you have, you kind of need him standing right next to Jinx or on the angle to get the lantern away from Samira. So he's either next to Jinx to hit the flay, or he's standing right back so Shogun can immediately click the lantern the moment he sees Artemis get a little feisty.
This is really interesting because somehow, despite so many structures going down and none falling so far for Cerberus, they're only ahead about 2,000 gold, which is kind of wild that they've taken 3 full turrets in exchange for Saigon Buffalo's 1 kill of advantage, and still the advantage doesn't feel that dramatic. The one problem is Artemis has a ridiculous amount of this gold. I mean, you're seeing BF Sword, Serrated Dirk, and also having the Immortal Shield Bow on top of the plated steel caps means that it is a lot that Artemis has going for them inside of some of these big fights, which now is going to start to come into play. You've got Rift Herald coming up in a minute. That's a bit of a catch, but Pun is decently bulky, so you're not going to worry about it too much. Froggy trying to help out Hosbet and get him unleashed in the side lane to be able to go aggressive against the tower, but not going to happen.
Yeah, it does end up with Buffalo having a lot of potential standing gold as the ult is used to clear the wave. Now Taki's here, this could be a dive.
Focus down the tower. There's a TP coming in. I don't love the TP, and the tower being broken means that it's not even going to matter anyway, so it's just a wasted TP. Now the kills on a Taki, which is a bit rough, but outside of that, a nicely executed bot dive here to make sure that they get something back. Yato knows he's unresponded, which means that he can go after this top tower, probably take this top inner tower for basically nothing. Jinx has to rotate out of mid lane because of the fear. I mean, Saigon Buffalo sold the farm for that kill on that turret. I'm not sure exactly what the intention was behind this play, but you're clearly losing in this situation. Even with the kill added on, you're just not getting enough back in recompense to make up what Yato is currently pulling on the side of the map right now.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to consider it's in a tower. They are worth a lot more gold than the outers. So with the kill, it comes out just about even, I think, in the gold trade. But the map pressure of having that in depth, of having that deep push into the top lane is gonna just benefit Cerberus in the long run. So all in all, they're committing a lot. It could have turned around potentially if Yato had teleported to a minion or a ward instead of the tower. But in the end, it all kind of works out okay. And now Buffalo they're still not that far behind. It's still only that 2k. And of course, that's with 3 extra towers left to grab. Not quite sure where this extra gold is coming from. There's a few CS leads. There was that cull. That doesn't feel like it should be enough to counteract the extra towers. Maybe, I guess, more plates fell than we noticed. I'm not sure.
Maybe. One way or another, it actually seems like Shogun has slowly climbed back up to basically same itemization. It is Infinity Edge completed now for Artemis, which is going to help with that ultimate damage. It does ramp that pretty well. The Serrated Dirk is going to help with a bit of penetration as well. Wave is cleared, but I don't know that they're going to be able to stop the charging of the Rift Herald here, as Shirley wants some real damage to the structure.
Yeah, and between that
a nice
and
hook.
hold that.
Nice charm. The tower's dead very, very easily. Ultimate got absorbed. Shogun threw the ultimate to try to pick off Pun, but it's not going to be enough, as that is an excited Shogun trying to find something with the Ghost. Instead, they're just going to be able to walk away. They just bully down mid-tower, and it does not matter. Now Dragon available as well. The Hosbet on the split push, trying to find something on the other side of the map. Nobody's here to respond. It is Samira who's going to be up here first, and that's going to lead to them ditching. You got to think Dragon's got to be the play here, right? Like, Ocean Drake is available here for Cerberus Esports. They're risking maybe the Baron going down, but I don't think that they're that worried. I feel like they would take a fight around the Baron and just win the fight, even if Saigon commits fully to the Baron. So I'm not sure. They're just they're poking at it right now. It looks like there's 2 members that are finally on the Dragon, and that should be sufficient for them to grab that advantage.
Yeah, Artemis and Ron should be enough dissuasion from the Baron, especially this early on. Pumpkin, of course, also joined fairly quickly, so I think just gonna have to settle for the fact that Harsman was able to split push a tower down. Going now for the Wit's End, going to keep up that side lane pressure. He wants to keep the pressure on. He's not gonna be that sort of lurking around, constantly trying to team fight, sort of tank that we sometimes see. And I think this works out better for what Harsman's sort of playstyle tends to be. He likes to be a bit more of a carry, a bit more damage, than really find those big angles that, like, he can find them on the Nah, he has found them in the past, but he doesn't have that same sort of intuition for tank play for those team fight angles. So I'm pretty happy with what he's doing right now. Pun, he's built some AP. He is going to be the lone AP threat, but because of that, his damage is definitely going to stick because nobody's going to really try and itemize for him except Taskman.
Cerberus on the Baron. They're actually in a really, really good position right now. Hook onto Pun, but there's no way for Gray to get in at this moment. They got to find a way in now. That's going to be a steal. As now the fight afterwards might be something. Froggy is able to get out of the pit at minimum. Now the fight afterwards is the question. Trying to prevent everyone from coming through. Rano P able to be a lot more menacing, but nobody on Cerberus is able to catch anybody on Saigon, so they're able to walk out relatively for free. I think it was Flash from Guri and from Froggy, as well as a couple of ultimates, but that is a big win. Cerberus now going to be able to set up pushing. Definitely going to be able to set up the next dragon. They've got more than enough compensation now on the map. Like, they're feeling great. Like this Samira has had nothing but free time to go scaling to prepare for team fights.
Yeah, all the engage tools used to keep Guri out of the pit. I got a little bit scared when the Gragas barrel went wide, but in the end they managed to get it together. Ron committing his full ultimate over the wall to keep out the Lee Sin, an easy Baron pickup, and now the waves. Yeah, I mean they can easily set up for Yado to just rotate around, take down this tower in the bot lane, take down an inhibitor, which really should be the goal of this Baron, given how many towers have already fallen. Just need to find the angle, try and sink the waves and make them crash properly. So that's going to be a high value sweeper for sure. And now this bot side control is all they're after. They want to run this Baron through, use that to set up control for the next dragon, and take this game home pretty comfortably. So at this point, it's going to take a pretty impressive team fight from the side of SGB to bring it back. Looking for a big flank angle for a good kick from Guri, a big gnarl from Harsmed, and then Shogun trying to run it down. But Froggy has not been able to have the same angles as before. Cerberus has just a lot more tools to keep him at bay. Good hook.
Here we go. Ultimate coming through from... Oh, actually knocks Guri back into the rest of the team, who's going to be able to jump out. That's actually going to be a kill immediately. That's going to get Jinx excited. Now you have to worry about nice play to get Artemis out of that fight. Shogun's trying to deliver damage forward. He's doing an okay job of it, but that's a triple kill already for Samira in this fight, as that's going to be way too simple. Shogun's trying to drop rockets, trying to get some kind of damage. That actually might be an execution right here and right now. 2 members remaining on Saigon Buffalo. Can they actually do anything? I don't know that they can actually force into Artemis in any capacity in the slightest. It's really, really difficult.
Here's the wave.
Yes, that's going to be first tower going down very, very easily. Shogun's got to try to figure out a way to clear this wave, but I don't think it's going to happen. That fight was the death sentence that was necessary. Cerberus, so vicious in finding their win in 25 minutes. Now SGB chasing Cerberus on the way out of the base. They have to try to not lose every single member, because it could lead to quite a bit of issue. Shogun got excited because of that play. Coming out and clear more wave. Looking at the dragon as well. That's another really big thing. Artemis has to use the W to make sure that you don't lose that. Pun is coming into the midst of everything. Has to flash immediately over the wall so they don't find anything else. As Saigon Buffalo running back up mid lane, they're looking for more. Run OP nearly gets executed. Now Artemis is going to get charmed out. They're going to be able to find him a shutdown on a Guri. That's a huge play. And now, can you find even more? Froggy trying to go forward, trying to find additional damage. Yado not going to get caught up, but he's going to die to Shogun, who throws out a W. And now Saigon Buffalo recovers a bit from that base push. Only thing left was a Nexus. Pun gets an assassination on a Shogun out of nowhere. And now down there, ADC, not going to be able to push for much. Maybe they can look at the dragon. That's the only thing I can think that they would want to push for here at this point in the game. Maybe have to give it up anyway. After all of that, they are able to drive Cerberus out of their base at the Nexus point. But Cerberus has done completely unresponded damage here.
Pun pretty much saving the turnaround, because if Buffalo had taken that tower, that's a bounty. That's a huge gold swing back for Buffalo. They picked up a ton of kills. And we see here they just didn't quite respect the death timers. They took a little long, and once Jinx gets rolling, she can absolutely chase her down. The buffs to the zap coming in huge, just landing zap after zap, trying to keep the slows, let them chase forever. And this ultimate, they
Very good.
C's part, and Ron OP takes the pain from it. They do the best. Samira goes down. the gold falls onto Guri, which is not ideal, but it's fine. Shogun gets so much gold injected. Pun does shut her down, though, so
Yes.
nothing
And now
more
4,000.
came from it.
4,000 gold. Shogun did pick up Infinity Edge, which was a big kind of limiter to the damage that Shogun was putting out, was that I was waiting for them to try to get him onto Infinity Edge, and that fight happened. Able to recover. Dragon did go to the way of Cerberus, which means that you have one until Soul Point. You got Ocean Soul on the way. If Samira gets onto Soul Point, I don't think they actually have built any healing reduction. I do not know if Samira dies inside of fights, if that's the case. You have to be super cautious about allowing that one to come through, which means that Saigon Buffalo basically is now put on a 4-minute and 15-second timer. It says,
There it is.
can you fight us here? Can you fight us at the end of this? I don't know if they can, because right now Samira seems very, very difficult to deal with.
There's one orb completed, so there will be some Grievous Wounds applicable to Artemis if Froggy can land pretty much anything. A Foxfire will do it. Gonna see if Artemis can complete this collector, or whichever the item they are currently going for. They might end up selling the Dirk to get a Bloodthirster in the works, but if they get their 4th item set up, it's not going to happen before the Baron, never mind. So now they're just going to probably just say, all right, we're going to sit here at Baron, try and bait you into a fight, and then what are you going to do? Currently losing middleweight pressure, though.
Yeah, TP out of mid lane to make sure that they have some kind of pressure towards Baron buff when the time comes. Bottom wave is pushed out super far as well. I believe that Hosmet just got back from doing that, and now top wave is pushed in by Yado. It's attempted claim. Look at all this vision that's established in the river right now from Cerberus. They don't really have a lot of super deep vision. They got one in the red buff. They got run right over the Baron wall. They don't have much more to watch the approach necessarily from Saigon Buffalo. So I think that's what this is going to be, is they're going to transition into the river. They're going to put down some of the shallow water. You see Rado P already did that, and now they're going to start up this Baron buff. As Yado has the Bloodthirster. You've got healing on Samira as well. They've got more than enough. Down below 10k. Rado P on the outskirts trying to prevent this from happening. They're going to walk into the river, and they got to do something. Hosmet is wrecking Rado P right there. He's in the back line. Ghost Draktar going to be able to find one. Knocked in is everybody, as I believe it's Jinx. Yeah, Shogun just gets absolutely decimated in the midst of all that. Guri tries to jump in and find something against Yado, but it's not going to happen, as there's just no damage to work with. Hosmet throws one into the wall. That's going to be a first. Artemis now pops the ultimate, is going to absolutely decimate Hosmet as well, as there's no damage really left on the map. Froggy's completely out of the fight. Taki has half his health bar, but it doesn't matter. GP coming into the bottom lane to try to get something, but I don't think it actually matters, as that's going to be the end of the game right then and right there. That play from Drakthar, getting onto the Jinx at the last possible moment, really did make all a world of difference to closing this game out. As again, Saigon Buffalo lives up to their name. 3-game series again. I think they've had 1 2-game series all split. They are going to their 3rd game, and against Cerberus, this was insane. Our first game of the day for both games went over 40 minutes long, went into hyper late game type territory, and then second game was a lot faster. This time Cerberus took a little bit longer to kind of chop the head off. That one fumble around that base take was all that really cost them. And now, heading into game number 3, stakes are getting raised by the second Mobby.
Yeah, definitely a much better showing from Cerberus. That Pun being Pun was fine. Pun did good. But I wanted to say Yado stepped up pretty massively this game. Was a huge source of pressure in the side lanes, in team fights. Being able to execute Shogun right at the end there, that was really important, because it didn't look like because Artemis was actually kept out of that fight pretty significantly by the Thresh. So Artemis was the key carry. He did a lot, but he wasn't quite able to. But in the end, when he was kept out, Yado stepped up. Pun was doing a lot of damage, and SGB couldn't quite bring it together. Harsmed couldn't impact the old fight with his Gnar ultimates. It's really just that one stumble at the Nexus, but Cerberus kind of just had a nice hold all the way up until they broke the game open and nearly ended it straight away.
And I don't think the damage numbers really do justice as to just how much pressure was being applied by like Yado in fights, and then also specifically, if it's just respect that's you're tracking in a game like this, the amount of times that Artemis is just like driving home fights with nothing behind it was so difficult for the side of Saigon Buffalo to deal with. So now walking into game number 3, I mean, they have to be terrified of what is it that Saigon Buffalo is coming out with. What is Cerberus going to come out with? Is Cerberus going to go back to something that allows Artemis to play a really aggressive play style? They go for the melee support. They play for the bottom lane again. What are you looking for? I don't know. Both these teams have showed a variety of styles over the course of the split and over the course of just in the series alone. We've seen 2 completely different styles. I think the only thing that's going to answer that question is game number 3. We'll be back in just a little bit with our final game of the day.
Night, the world, it's mine. With nobody else out here, it's time, run wild and royally cavalier. To burn, ignite, I do it for so much less. When all is made clear, there is nothing else, and here we stand, the sweet arrest in duality, and I come to, it's resin all over me. Will I awake? Will I get a ride with you in this race of 2? We're an endless stream of choices with the softest murmur of voices. Without names we're fantasizing, dancing like flames, mesmerizing. A darkness quiet playing satiric harmonies, making waves and diving under, lightning to the sound of thunder. A darkness quiet singing such haunting melodies. So white, so still, so bright, it's almost too painful now. I'm ready to fight, to run from the light. And here now comes the sweet, corrupting reality. While now I'm free, will I once cease to be? Will I awake? Will I get a ride with you in this race of 2? We are momentary masters. We're false kings and bastards. Without names we're fantasizing, dancing like flames, mesmerizing. A darkness quiet playing satiric harmonies. I'm making waves and diving under, lightning to the sound of thunder. My darkness quiet singing such haunting melodies. We are marionettes by strings animated, yet like lovers of strings liberated. We are marionettes by strings animated, yet like lovers of strings liberated. Without names we're fantasizing. Without names we're fantasizing, dancing like flames, mesmerizing. My darkness quiet playing satiric harmonies, making waves and diving under, lightning to the sound of thunder. My darkness quiet singing such haunting melodies. Brothers but not separated, marionettes animated, lovers
Welcome back, everybody, to our final game of the day here at the beginning of our week number 5 in the VCS. We've got 2 series that have gone a very long distance, as we've had some pretty incredibly long games to start off both of them. And now we end our 6-game day with Saigon Buffalo going up against Cerberus. Cerberus currently sitting at 5-2. These are, I believe, the last 2 teams that are sitting without a 7-game with a 7-game record, 8-game record. Cerberus, if they win, they maintain sole possession of second place right behind Gambi Sports. And if Saigon takes the win, they actually leapfrog SBTC Esports, funny enough, as a meme for the mid laner Saigon Buffalo, to be able to take the 4th place spot, and they would be 1 game only behind both Team Wales and Team Cerberus for 2nd and 3rd place as well. So it's pretty big stakes, especially with how contested Flash and Secret are right behind Saigon Buffalo. You desperately do not want to fall to 3 and 5, because then you're in the relegation space potentially as well, if you're Saigon Buffalo too.
Yeah, I mean Buffalo. This roster pretty much, the core of this roster, Hasmed, Froggy, and Taki, have found themselves in that relegation tournament before, and they do not want to go back there. This time, they've been to MSI, they've been to Worlds, they've come a long way since there, and they want to keep that prestige as we move to the 3rd game draft. And as far as I see it, I think the bot lane has proven to be so important. If Shogun and Taki can get ahead and keep Artemis down, that's looked so good for Buffalo. But it is hard to keep a good Artemis down. So I'm wondering, does Taki fall back to his ways of these 80 carry supports, these marksmen, the Jin, well, not the Caitlyn that's been banned, but and try and push that in? I was gonna say these top lane counters would be a little bit early, given we can move that Gragas anywhere, and it's most likely to end up in the jungle.
See, now this is crazy because Vigar has popped up on this patch as being this kind of insane champion, and Yado, to me, I say this every time, I'll say it every single time. Every time a new pick comes into the mid lane meta, if it's a mage, Yado's gonna play it. Yado's gotta show us how it's done. There's that. I don't know if this is a call. I don't know if this is a call out to Froggy's mid lane Rammus from way back in the day. If Curry's just trolling us, or if this is an actual pick. The Ari's a lot more sense because you're not going to get trapped most of the time by the Vigar. You're just going to have a normal game. And the Blitzcrank would be a fun one for Taki because we know how big of a playmaker that Taki already is on most of the other champions in the game. So having something like this would be a crazy idea to have kind of influence the rest of the map, and that's exactly what they're going to go for.
That is so weird to me. Picking the Blitzcrank blind, because it opens up the opportunity for Ron to easily drop a counter onto that.
What is he going to counter it with?
Simple. Brawl. Alistair.
He doesn't play Brawl.
You play out? Alright, then Alistair. Easy. You get hooked in, you get the free knock up, and the knockback.
Simply don't hook Alistar. It's that simple. And then he does nothing.
Yeah. I think this is I think I'm just flabbergasted he picked it so early, but there we go. We're going to pick the Leona. That's a good pick into the Blitzcrank. That's going to be banned away. That's a Ron OP favorite. We're going to probably see something else, but huge, big carry ADCs, big late game scalers getting removed.
Me
from
me,
Shogun.
teacher. Me, call on me. Me over here.
Right.
Me over here.
Yes,
over
Rebel,
here. Me.
what
Call
do you have to
me.
share?
I think Shogun's gonna play Ezreal. There's no way it gets aggressed on by Xayah and by Rakan. It frees up Blitzcrank to go around the map, and Shogun played it against Gam, and he played it really, really well into Gam. Okay, don't make me look like an idiot now, Shogun. Come on, don't make me look like an idiot. I know Kai's is good right now, but Ezreal, he's right there. Play the Ezreal. Come on. You know you want to. All right. Yeah. Ratio.
I don't know about this Kai'Sa pick paired with the Blitzcrank. I mean, I suppose the burst is pretty big if you do land that hook, but seems a bit strange. It is one of those champions that can play very safely under tower if you want to send the Blitzcrank to Roman. But now you sort of see the lineup. It's going to be Hasmed on the Croc. It's going to be Guri on the Gragas. That's pretty much what it was expected. But now what does Pun want? His sort of big counter pick in these the Orlov has been taken. And we're gonna see a repeat of game 1. It's the Simon.
You know, I almost would have preferred that we got a Vayne here than a Kai'Sa. because I mean you can knock away Lee Sin, you can knock away like I guess it's low range, and the one fear is that like Vygar Cage is probably gonna be a lot more effective, but he also ripped through like a Scion much faster than what Kai'Sa will in this particular case. But I don't know. I would have liked Ezreal. I would have liked Vayne. I think Kai'Sa's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of the three, but of the three, I think my least favorite is Kai'Sa in this situation. But now seeing the draft, tell me what are your thoughts on it? Because now you get that Renekton Scion run back in the top lane where I think Pun actually lowered the win rate of that champion after game number 1 as well.
Yeah, okay, he did. He did lose that one game.
It's not just Hosman anymore.
It's not just Hosman anymore. But actually, you say that Pun's actually got a worse win rate on it than Hosman. I said that. I made the joke originally, but what can I say? I like, in isolation, I really like what Cerberus has put together. That is just the most 13.5 composition of 13.5. I'm really happy with it front to back. How does it match up into what Buffalo has put together? It should be good. I think Kai'Sa should have a very difficult time trying to work around the Vygar Cage, the Scion, and the Rakan. So I feel that's going to be a bit of a problem. Froggy is going to be fine on the Ahri for the most part, but we're going to have to see how well he can put that mid lane pressure to use, as well as what Guri can do with the solo lane pressure, because you're not going to have too much pressure in the bot lane. Sire and Rakan are just too strong right now for Kai'Sa to contest, especially in the early levels. Once he gets a few more points in the Q upgrade maybe then, but I'm curious to see. I need to see what Guri can put forward, because otherwise you've got the most meta composition imaginable.
It occurs to me why I was voting so heavily for Ezreal, and it's because now we have Kai'Sa Xayah. We've come full circle, Bobby, to 2018, when these are the only two marksmen picked in the entire
I'm leaving.
world.
I don't want to go back.
No one wants to go back, but here we are, full circle. There's nothing to save us, unfortunately, as we get back into game number 3, our 6th game of the day, final game of the day, final game of the first day of the 5th week of the VCS Championships. I did it again, the Vietnamese Championship Series, hosted by us, VCS English.
Of the 13th season of the League of Legends. Yes.
13th season of the League of Legends. Yes. Hey, did you know that Arcane, the people who made Arcane, made a video game and it's been around for 13 years?
Technically longer. It's only been pro scene for 13 years. They had a whole year beforehand where it was just vibing. And now we're gonna see Taki. He's in the bush. He's gonna whiff. And all right,
Taki's the worst Blitzcrank player of all time.
We can confirm there is only one good Blitzcrank player. His name is Sora, and he is currently in Team Flash.
That is correct. Although I don't believe Sora was using the right skin, because I don't think anyone has used Blitz and Crank, which is the two cats that are inside of this, which is, by the way, the best skin. Like, there is no argument here.
You know, I was going to disagree, but then I realized that the skin I was referring to was definitely not a Blitzcrank skin.
Then you realize that. You mean the Vel'Koz skin, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, Rano P's in a rough situation. Ooh! I really thought he was going to get snagged out of the air right there, but thankfully, feathers were matted down, greased back the hair a little bit today, as Guri runs into Drakthar, but not going to be able to be there fast enough to actually make a difference. Also, does Drakthar really care? Drakthar is the king of the jungle. What are you going to do, Guri?
Drakthar's a little bit annoyed. He loses there as Guri gets some free gold, but
forget about it.
It's all fine. Everybody's just hanging out, vibing, maxing, relaxing. Drakthar is kind of stuck in an annoying position, though. He might be trying to sort of, I guess, feign him back, and because he can't really do anything else. He's been cut off by Guri.
Nice play.
Yeah.
Great play. No flash available. No flash needed to make that play happen. Oh, actually, Guri's flash was needed to make that play happen. Q underneath the tower. That might actually be an execute on the right. There it is. Yeah, the 1-for-1. Taki gets the kill somehow. The ignite from Taki got the absolute last possible tick of damage onto Rano P right there, as it is a support trade and a support kill trade. between the two of them. But it did burn the time of Drakthar, which means that Guri's gank actually got quite a bit more. This is crazy. Again, there was no flash from Froggy to make that happen. He just kind of ran at him. And then, of course, this play happened where Taki flashes. He knows he's probably dead to rights, steps back into the pocket, knows Rado P, for some reason, got baited into pressing E because I think he knew that Artemis was going to get grabbed otherwise, and Artemis would have been the one dying in that circumstance. So props to Taki being able to kind of be forward thinking about that circumstance as Saigon Buffalo pulls first blood and 2 of the first 3 kills of the game.
Yeah, and wow. The stun comes through from Haasman just despite the flash, and yeah, that's gonna be freebie for Guri.
Yeah.
Pun does have teleport, so it's not going to be too bad, not gonna be the end of the world, but Guri making his presence felt on this Gragas, working with those solo lanes as mentioned to try and get a gold lead going. Now Cerberus will scale pretty comfortably. They're still feeling okay with this Vega. Not falling behind too much. They couldn't quite link up Ron OP there, but now maybe something can happen. There's been a lot of time spent by Guri, so a free blue buff for Dracula.
Okay. I think this is the first time we've seen Guri actually get an advantage on the Gragas jungle. Usually he's like counter ganking and he's having a tough time, and it just hasn't been very easy, and then ends up going AP, which slows him down quite a bit, and the game just doesn't go well. The team is playing around him like he's playing on Talia right now, where they've set him up for a couple of really successful ganks already in this game. Got him onto first item. Man, these hooks from Taki are so wicked. He's trying to curve him around minions, but it's just not working out. But ultimately, again, I like to see this because, again, Guri, my biggest criticism was that at the beginning, I knew Guri as a Graves player and as a just like a farmer, which is why the Talia makes so much sense for him. And then he's been playing Elise and he's been playing Gragas, some of the stuff that's in the meta, but not stuff that is particularly of the style of Guri. So it's kind of nice to see a little bit of a difference for this young player on the Saigon roster, the most recent addition, to have some kind of new impact, some kind of new successes as they continue to get better over the course of the split.
Haasman really trying to stamp his foot down here as well, but we've loved. It's been great seeing the development of Guri as Froggy has here to join. This is going to be rough for Pun.
Okay, easy enough. Q doesn't quite do the damage. Shields come back up. Although Tasman only took like 1 turret shot for that, which is criminal. But Q comes through. Froggy started tanking. Has to walk away. Haasman, will he get the E? Will he be able to one-shot Pun here? That is the real question. I don't know. I'm waiting for the E because he needs the E and then like probably W auto cancel Q and then get out. Okay, yeah, he does a slightly different order as soon as he had the rage charge. But okay, yeah, well played by Haasman, able to kind of walk away with the kill. Dragon is being contested right now, but might be willing to give that one up for the additional goal. Ooh, Rado P, barely sneaking away.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing this Siren counter pick is definitely just not working. What?
That was wild. The dragon went down to 1 health, which means if Guri hadn't clicked his barrel, he actually might have been able to steal it with it, which is wild to me. Okay, Drakthar versus Guri here on the side. No cooldowns remaining for Guri. The W was back up for an additional auto attack, but Drakthar doesn't have ultimate, so he's just going to ditch, and he's out of dodge now. As Froggy, again, spending his time anywhere but mid lane as much as possible to ensure that he is just free to have map influence anywhere that he pleases. Now looking for a bit of a wraparound onto Ron P and Artemis as they're taking a Q underneath the turret. Now they're waiting for the wave to come in. Artemis is stuck in a really bad position. Ron OP is not a great place either. Drakthar still here to be able to make something happen as they're able to get out. And there's the flash from Artemis. They're going to follow it. Charm doesn't barely hit, but Guri is able to clean up 1 additional kill as they're going to continue chasing. There's one behind them right now, and it is Vygar. Don't know that Yado is going to be in the greatest place to defend this because he doesn't have much mana either. That is a huge event horizon, but it doesn't matter. What are you going to do, Yado? You got no mana. What are you doing, bud? Yeah, that's what I thought. Get out of here.
He might get one back. No, the tower doesn't fire that fast, so he gets some free AP, I suppose, but I don't know why he continued. Once Ron and Artemis played this out the way they did, which, by the way, it was pretty slick from them.
It was really well played, yeah.
They managed to play. If Artemis did have ult, that was a freebie. That was out. But then Artemis just like, I'm gonna go to tower. I'm just gonna continue walking down. I need this wave. I need it. It's part of my soul. It's part of my identity. And so is dying.
Yeah, I'm a little lost because like there was another wave coming in, and so I guess the thought process was Yato wanted to prevent them from being able to get like 2-3 plates off that tower before a respawn came through. Because you could have left like Shogun there, maybe like Guri there, and you could have gotten a bunch of gold. Maybe Froggy gets left there so that you can catch up with the mid lane wave. And Yato probably isn't going to match that turret plate taking from that mid wave that got pushed up because I think he had a wave and a half, 2 waves that got crashed into mid wave. So the question was like, is Yato getting that 1 plate, maybe 2 plates maximum, and crashing that wave worth the double kill or the kill? And the wave crashing on bot lane and a couple of plates that are going to be traded onto them? Or do you go bot lane and try to make the response happen? I guess Yato decided, okay, I'm going to try to clear this wave, and then they're playing against a Vygar. I just don't think he had the mana to actually make that happen. If he had more abilities, maybe there was a chance, but bad decision coming through here as Cerberus falls to a 3,500 gold lead to begin the game.
Yeah, he was kind of in a rough position, and then he just also sort of stayed under tower. With a great event horizon, he definitely had the opportunity to back away and maybe try and make his way up river. Husman is just putting the hurt onto Pun.
He's getting punished?
Okay, the Scion just isn't working. I know it will be useful in the late game, but he is... Now, to be fair, he has been ganked, in all fairness to Pun, but... He has had precisely 0 lane pressure. Husman has been putting the hurt onto him all game. And that's a free flash. Just what? It's
no TP
working.
either. Yeah,
And
no TP, and that
with
means Demolish proc as well. It's just free turret plates top lane, Rift Herald as well. It could be easy enough for Guri to just scurry up the top side and grab that tower up if they wanted it.
You almost don't want to though, considering how much control Husman just has for free. You're probably better off putting it down bot lane, getting the Kai'Sa rolling, getting her to a Phantom Dancer, getting those evolves, and getting a happy Shogun.
Would be pretty nice. Actually catching a massive wave here. They're already up 8 minions, and this is like 10, like probably 10 more. So like they're up 2 full waves on the bottom side, as well as being up the additional kill on the Kai'Sa. This game is going stupendously for Saigon Buffalo right now. I know they gave the 1 kill up, which is that 1 trade kill underneath the bottom tower. But like outside of Froggy being down 20 minions, they're feeling great. Top lane has been absolutely dominating right now. Husband's been doing great. Guri is doing better on the Gragas we've ever seen before. Bottom lane is going well. Mid lane, you're getting a lot of roam pressure from Froggy out of mid lane, which is all you can really ask out of this. And Vygar still takes a lot of time to get going. Artemis is going to be behind for a decent amount of time. Eventually, Drakthar's damage is going to fall off and isn't going to be as relevant. So, Cerberus, I mean, they're not necessarily on a clock, but certainly this mid game is going to be difficult for them to navigate.
Yeah, Yato's been delayed so much on that Rod of Ages. He's just not getting anything done. He has AP because he's Vega and he's been farming pretty well. Taki still not having the most success with the hooks. And as well as staying pretty much permanently in lane with these Moby boots, so definitely not impressed by the Blitzcrank.
You know what? I bet it's because Shogun doesn't feel safe. You know what would have fixed that problem? If they had picked Ezreal instead.
Oh yeah, for sure. But despite all this, it doesn't really matter because Drakthar has been pretty much invisible. He made that 1 play onto the bot lane after kind of sort of being forced into that position by a nice roam from Guri into that jungle. But Artemis is out of position.
There's 5 members
should be free for SGB.
Should be. Okay, this would be second dragon. They're gonna... Okay, all right, that's a play. Knock, disengage. Taki is just kind of left to his lonesome here. That's not the play that you would want to actually come about. Teleport to top side because there was a bit of damage going down under the top structure by Hosmed. So, again... Oh, actually, they got the tower at the last second just as the TP completed, which means that Pung now is going to be in a little bit of a rough spot against the Gordricker. Yeah, you see he lost his entire health bar. Flash is available for Hosmed when he has cooldowns remaining. He's going to be able to press it. He's going to be able to have the Iron Spike whip. Did he really?
He stuffed it up.
And he burns the flash, leaving.
Oh, man.
Hosmed. What was it? Do you remember what the name was before?
Rizo?
Rizo? Yeah, that was a classic Rizo moment.
Yeah, I should have been so free, but I think Hosmed manages to play that the worst way possible and gives a much needed kill back to Pun. And honestly, kind of a bit of a fumble all around by SGB. They lose the dragon. They are going to realistically get 2 turrets out of it, but give up 2 kills, give up a dragon. This gives time for Cerberus that they desperately needed. And Hasmed is going to just try and run down Pun. This is the boring part where he just walks.
Why did
So
he
after
turn
him,
back?
he could have flashed at any time. I guess waiting
Why?
for that stun to come back, but he could have also left.
Why did
I
he
don't know.
turn back? There was a second there where he like dashed and then he turned back like he was autoing a minion or something and then immediately walked back forward the other direction. And if it weren't for that one little stutter step, I feel like one auto could have made the world of difference here for Hasmed. He's been bullying the lane. He's still winning the laning phase. Don't get me wrong, but like that was a very, very weird fumble that did not need to happen by any standard at all. Hasmed just giving a kill over to Pun for no reason. Of course, we talk about this being a weird play because it's like, okay, they lost the dragon, they lost 2 kills, they traded for like 2 towers, basically. It's a 5k gold advantage at 14 minutes into the game. They're down 2 dragons,
It is.
but I don't think they really care.
It's 5k gold advantage, and now items are starting to come through from the side of Cerberus, so maybe they can find their way back into it. Maybe they can find those angles. Once again, Taki not having the best of luck on this crank, pulled in Ron P and gave him a good angle to set up that kill onto him, which has not been ideal, but now they have control over the mid lane, they have full control over the side lanes, and should be able to push out Cerberus from their own jungle and starve Drakthar, which, I mean, Drakthar is on Lee Sin, so he only needs his hands to be useful, get a good kick, but probably gonna miss.
Oh! Got him. Got the tank. Puts Pun right in the middle of everybody. Actually takes half of his health bar, but super close. The charm and the hook both going after Artemis really heavily right there. Again, Artemis with that ultimate able to save himself pretty well. Nice charm from Froggy on a Yato as Yato was trying to run forward and attempt to get something, but isn't able to quite do so. Instead, Saigon Buffalo just continues to man up here in the mid lane. Dump a wave here into the mid tower best as possible. Trying to control top side, it looks like. The Rift Herald might be the play that they're looking for right now.
Yeah, that's the next objective on the map. The soul is only clouds, so you're not actually worried as SGB. You're mostly fine leaving that alone. It's only really Artemis and Ron P that are going to benefit from it in any significant capacity. Of course, the out of combat movement speed is always nice, but good go from Guri.
Okay, really well played.
Flash forced,
Yes.
no ultimate available from Artemis, so nice attempt to capitalize. And if they can come back to that, maybe they get him next time.
Yeah, that was really nice. Guri has not been able to find an angle for something like that most of the game, and so finding that without having to burn the flash on Artemis means that Artemis now down. One of the big defensive tools has been really good at using the Featherstorm defensively over the course of the game, but I like, in an ideal world, you don't want to be using it hyper defensively. You want to be able to put the feathers down somewhere that's useful for offense of some degree. So I don't know. Again, Artemis is getting kind of put a lot of focus into in this game, which I think is necessary from Saigon Buffalo. You talked about before the game it started how just important bot lanes are, and shutting down Artemis, shutting down his ability to have any kind of agency in the slightest, really making the job of Cerberus difficult inside of team fights.
Yeah, as it is, that's just a small victory and picks up the Rift Herald. Now they're gonna have to figure out what to use. The mid lane makes the most sense, of course. And with that Rift Herald spawning, they can cheat a lot of pressure with it. Of course, they also have good shove in the bot lane, so if they wanted to, really, they could go down. Narrowly missed.
Nice
They
hook.
could walk down to try and drop that Rift Herald in the bot lane, and then let that go. As Taki is in a bad position. Ooh.
Oh, wow. Actually, really nice play from Taki because he was able to kind of buffer the E, and that means that Drakthar wasn't able to get the kick onto Shogun that he wanted. Now at the front of the fight is Ron P. Froggy in the midst of everybody. Hits a nice Everfrost on the Artemis, and he's able to get brought down. Shogun weaving his way through this fight, doing some incredible things, and there's the hook we're looking for. That's Taki finding Pager, again, forcing Pun's flash, getting him out of a fight. Yato, the only one still in fighting shape at all. And what a fight coming out from Saigon Buffalo. The engagement from Cerberus is thwarted to every possible degree, and Shogun continues to flex his muscles as this absolutely nutty bot lane marksman. Look at this. So watch, Taki, there That's the knockup right there. He was trying to fight. Director almost got behind Shogun, but without that knockup, not able to get anywhere near it. And then, of course, here's the Artemis play afterwards. You can see this insane little play onto on Artemis to be able to grab the Everfrost. And then, of course, Shogun cleaning up with his Battle Ultimate in the midst of 3 members.
Yeah, they play well so well. And, of course, the hook to get the fade.
Of course.
Not quite the fade away. But they do force another flash out from Pun. He's still just a little bit too tanky to bring down.
He's the little guy.
He is just the littlest guy. You can tell by his big axe.
By his massive health bar.
Yeah, Ron gonna dodge that one, but yeah, we just sort of saw they can't quite collapse onto Taki. Still just a bit too tanky. The engage is not ideal from the side of Cerberus. They're very reactive to good cages by Yado, not really setting up any arranged plays. It was a nice attempt from Drakthar. Didn't come together, so we need to see but it's just Cerberus not able to actually set up their own picks with forethought. They are reacting to moments in the game, and to an extent that's all the time. You're always looking for the angle, and the angle isn't always perfect. You have to react to small missteps, but there is no forethought, no setup. It is just, does this cage look good? Yes, go. And that doesn't always work when Taki can flash away.
I have to give like an enormous amount of credit to that play individually, because I've seen some unreal plays out of the VCS. And I'm not talking like really good ones. I'm talking really bad ones. Like I've seen Drakthar's Rumble Ultimates. They are not good. That was some of the most mechanical display I have seen in the VCS for some time. And it was a missed Lee Sin kick. Oh my goodness. 3 people, 4 just got put into the wall by Guri's ultimate. Artemis is down below half health now. Goodness gracious, Mobby. That's what we're looking for. That's what the Gragas is for, is just popping people. They're at the full defense of this mid-lane turret, trying to keep it up in every possible fashion. And Guri is just barraging them with barrels time and time again. Yado's trying to go forward. He's going to be able to catch Shogun. There's no flash. Ultimate doesn't get him out. He's in a really bad place. Kicked out of the fight more or less. Is not quite able to get away. But now the fight afterwards is disastrous for Cerberus, as they're going to lose their health on everybody. That's Drakthar who's about to go down. He gets 1 additional. And now Pun, the only one remaining turret's going to get brought down. There is nothing left for them to do. Yes, they ended up getting Shogun, but it does not matter because Cerberus falls. Pun is still alive because he's just a little guy, but goodness gracious, he's gonna fall eventually. He's gotta give him a little more time. Come on. All right, there we go.
Yeah, imagine if he was a big guy. That would be impossible.
That would have been crazy.
It takes a while, but they do clean up the ace in time to get the proper message, because Cerberus bot lane now respawning. They find a good angle, but Shogun, he survived so long. The shield is big. The reposition means Pun's ultimate was kind of wasted. But the response from Guri was immaculate.
Gorgeous.
Just immediately dives on top of Artemis, blows him up. And that means you have no advantage. You don't have the ADC difference. And that was really
We don't need to see all this. We really don't need to see all this. Please stop showing us things. Yes, we know Pun has Jack Show. Pun is a little guy, and he's able to kind of take care of business. It's not that big of a deal. As against Saigon, showing that they are multi-threaded. They've got Guri, they've got Hosmet. They can do more than enough. Froggy can get things done inside of team fights, and Shogun can full front to back carry if absolutely necessary. Now sitting up about 9,000 gold, and call it 8,500 gold. Got a dragon as well to slow down the stacking of Cerberus in case that was ever really a worry for them. They have got full reins of this game under lock, as there's no real win condition. I guess the closest they're at is Yado is on 2 full items, now looking to complete the 3rd, maybe on that Rabadon spike. The Vygar becomes a beast, but you're still a ways away from that.
Yeah, it's just not quite working. Ronak is going to be caught, but a little bit pressure blown, but Buffalo are kind of happy to just sit there and make Cerberus sweat a little bit, but if they're not careful, their waves are not in great positions, so Buffalo will be forced out. But there is a dragon spawning relatively soon. Buffalo should be fine grabbing that. Saigon will grab that dragon, happily go up to a 2nd Drake. I think that's just ward clearing on the top side. Yes, it is, so nothing to be concerned about there. We're just trying to see Guri look for another play onto Artemis.
Nice play, Froggy. I mean, he gets Pun knocked back. I'm actually going to get Chain CC to death as Pun has to flash again. I feel like he just got played. Little guy just got bumper card around. Really crazy. First day at the amusement park. wasn't expecting that one, so unfortunately was driven into a really bad situation.
You know, Pun is gonna have his birthday party. He's gonna become a big man one day, and he wants the bouncy castle for it. And SGB will provide.
So, sometimes he's Pun V9, sometimes he's punished. You know, like you can't pick. Like if you can't like him at his punished, you can't like him at his Pun V9. Like it's just not how it's gonna work. Yeah. So this series has been more punished than Pun V9 for sure. Hasn't really opened him up for anything like carry wise. It's mostly been the hard tanks. Haven't really gotten too much from Pun during the course of the series. Hosmed hasn't had like a stupendous series. This game specifically has been an absolute monster on their neck end. For the most part, top laners have been really, really quiet as the rest of the game has kind of taken over. Team fighting has taken over a larger portion of this game.
Yeah, this Renekton is one of Hosmed's champions that he can play quite well. It's one of his. It's not the tanks. It's not the Cassandre or the Ornn or anything like that. So. He's happy. He got some assistance early from Guri and Froggy, and with those leads, he was able to push pretty happily. Yeah, you see it there, the Navori finally coming in from Artemis, but they are almost also completed by Shogun. So
yeah, that's. I think Shogun is literally waiting to buy it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, he was waiting. He had to wait like critical. I'll go into the very slight time optimization that he was standing on a ward and then they saw it, and I wonder if he had autoed the ward and killed it and got that 30 gold if it had meant that he could have backed immediately, bought the Navori, and then ran out a little faster, but it doesn't matter in the slightest. I was just curious about that because he was standing on, like, do you need that 30 gold? Apparently he did, so... actually, Froggy's messing around with Artemis right now. Almost full assassinates Artemis, forces the Feather Storm. Or the Feather Call. Wow, that's... I mean, Artemis is down one defensive tool. Flash and Cleanse are still available, but especially right before a Baron, that is a massive take, especially since Artemis doesn't really have a bunch of sustain, so, like, you're going to be walking into this fight with less than half your health bar.
Yeah, he's got the red buff ticking, trying to heal him back up. So, Yado and the rest of Cerberus have to really body block any sort of poke.
Curry's a wild child.
Okay,
Curry, what are we doing, man? He's back into the rest of the team. Flash is away, trying to get something. Artemis actually knocked back into him for absolutely no reason. Now it's a question of whether or not they can blitz down the Baron because there's a smite still available. It's not going to happen. No, not going to happen. Yeah, like you said, Draxler out of position for this one. And it means that Saigon Buffalo, yes, they lose their jungler, but it does not matter. They're able to grab up the Baron. This is 9,500 gold lead advance. The only thing is that, actually, Dragon's still 2.5 minutes out. Yeah, maybe mid-tower as a push, but Froggy's going to stay here with Baron buff minions. It's going to be harder for them to clear. TP is going to be able to help cover this one, and that should be that. Although Froggy, on the event horizon, is going to get brought down very quickly by the execute coming through from the rest of Cerberus Esports. As Hosmed underneath the tower stuns up Pun, gets pulled underneath the rest of the tower. Another event horizon is going to trap them against the tower, but now Draxler is under fire, and now Shogun getting pushed out by Pun, but it's something matter. Hosmed's got Guardian Angel. He's just standing in the middle of 3 full members, and that's another event horizon. How many times has he done this? That's a Gore Drinker that gets him his entire health bar back, or half of his health bar back. That's going to be the Guardian Angel popped. I don't think Yado can stand here forever because Taki should be able to make some kind of play. Looking for something. Yeah, forces the flash out of Yado. Shogun doesn't have the health to keep going either. Although Guri, can he? What? Why? Just run at him. They had full vision.
They only just put the controller down, but this starts off extremely well. They just blow up Froggy immediately. It works out great. Then they feel, we're in a fantastic position. We can definitely kill Hosmed. Oh wait, no, we can't. He is so tanky. He is doing so much. And Artemis is just so far behind, he can't get anything done to this Crocodile. They eventually get the GA, but it's at the cost of so much health. It's at the cost of a flash from Yado. Yeah, not worth it. Should have just taken the frog and gone.
Should have, but they couldn't convince themselves to do so. And now they're down 10,000 gold at 27 minutes into the game. Feeling good. Another dragon as well, by the way, that was taken a couple minutes ago. A third dragon going to be popping up means that Cloud Soul is going to be a very real possibility for Saigon Buffalo if they take this next one with 4 Cloud Drakes behind it. Is an unreal amount of move speed.
Crank in the world.
Yeah, fastest blitz in the world, 100%. Oh, Taki, he predicted a dodge from Yado instead of actually going for the full grab, and I think he would have been fine to do so, but just not going to happen. Also, think about Guri has been on these insane flanks as well. You want to find him on a flank. He's going to be able to move into that position way too easily. As Hosmed just kind of solo pushing bottom lane against Pun, able to get that tower on his lonesome. It's funny because Guri can kind of pop ultimate from the bushes. Taki can kind of pop hooks from the bushes. Oh, Yado has to go into Zonias very quickly. And now Taki's actually going to get brought down very, very easily as they were able to catch him inside of the cage. Froggy's back.
We are
If they
seeing a
want a fancier
pretty
fight,
big
yeah.
weakness of Saigon Buffalo's composition, and that is they do not have very much in the range department. In the 1v1, it's great for Harsman. He can solo out.
Oh.
Okay, goodbye, Froggy.
Yes, that is another event horizon. Okay, so Yato is the only one currently on the side of Cerberus that is able to accomplish anything, because these event horizons with this lack of range is making it difficult to kind of make things happen. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what this was. Okay, nothing crazy. I was like, huh? The producer's messing with us?
I lost my stream. It is back. It seems that we have entered the time warp, and Cerberus were able to pick up a dragon.
Yes.
And that mid-lane tower, so that's some nice gold back into their pockets. Bounties are still up, but they picked up 2. 2 bounties is what you want. Darky's having a little dance.
Having fun?
Not sure
Waiting
what,
for somebody
not
to
sure
show
what
mid-lane.
for.
It's a summoning dance. He's trying to summon someone from Cerberus to show up.
Yeah, okay.
It's called the
He's
Dance of
gonna find a
Hades.
Draxar.
He will find a
He's
Drakthar.
gonna
Thanks for
find
the
a Krug.
Krug. Thanks for that Krugs, idiot. Oh, and Drakthar smited it away. Anyway, it doesn't even matter. The small Krugs are valuable, though. Shogun, pick those up. And he gets the red buff, too, because he decided to go the other direction. There we go.
Yep.
Huge.
Pick up some crockets.
Yeah, still a little bit by a little bit.
So good to
Nothing
go.
too crazy. Yeah, forcing a fight has been difficult here for Saigon Buffalo. I don't know that they have a great way to do it outside of, again, Guri finding this massive flank and being able to kind of pop people into the rest of the team. So you're just worried about Taki's pick potential, and so that's why they're working into these like jungle quadrants to get some vision down, but just haven't been able to work it well enough here to actually make anything happen. So it is a little worried that like Saigon Buffalo can't really press the gas down any more than they have so far. They can't like ramp up with like an Orin ultimate from across the map, a Malphite flash like ultimate or something like that over a wall. Like it's really difficult for them to find the picks that they need or the fight that they need to really close this game out when they have this advantage. So might have to wait for another neutral objective.
I would appreciate a Veigar check-in just to see how much AP he is putting down. He's picked up that void stuff so he can actually kill Harsman next time. Seems fair. Going for that stopwatch for some added safety might not be a Rabadon's death cap this game from him. He doesn't necessarily
Ooh.
need it, but
Wrong.
seems fair enough. Well, he's going to get the Rabadons, or he's going to forego the Dead Man's Blade. So,
The Zonias is nice in place of Deadman's, I think, just because you don't want to be hit by CC, and so that's your way of going immune. Which, if that's the case, that's what you replace. You don't go Deadman's. Although the move speed would be nice, but he has the ability to go for Ghost if you want with like the Unsealed Spellbook. So I don't think it's again to me the thing you drop is the Deadman's and you go for the Rabadons because like that damage is invaluable. You just nuke somebody, especially if you're standing across from Shogun. That's not bad. That's pretty good. How much does he have? 320 from his passive is pretty insane. So
yeah, that's pretty good. Now we're gonna have to see how well I can put it to use. This
Okay.
Baron is falling fast.
Oh, Froggy tried to stun a pun. He's still on the side. They're going to pull him. Event Horizon's not going to get anything done. Rana P in the back lane. Actually, a really, really nice play. But Shogun wasn't tagged by anything. He's actually right back forward. Now Drakthar trying to find a kick. He's able to get Shogun back into the rest of the team. He's going to ult right back out. And he gets eviscerated by the Veigar. But the rest of the fight, Harsman just winning the fight in the middle of the river. What in the world? They put so much into Shogun, but they have nothing left. They're just gone. And now they're going to TP into the mid wave. They're going to try to stop Pun in place. And Froggy is absolutely going to be able to do that. Where do they have the best wave? Looks like mid wave is going to be their best wave. Pun just has to clear it. They have to try to kill him before he... Okay. Well, they're not going to be able to do that, but they can teleport bot lane here to make sure that they can try to pull something off the map, as it should be an inhibitor for everything else, as the death timers are over 20 seconds at this point. The forced fight to try to find Shogun. And again, an overextension from Cerberus that cost them a fight.
Yeah, it's only going to be Ron. That ultimate from Yado did nuke him through shield and all, but they had to step so far forward, it just meant Guri and Harsman and Froggy could just run through the AoE together. They're not going to get anything more. Artemis is up now, Yado up shortly, but it's just Cerberus winning these fights. They want to try and get Shogun so bad that they kind of just forget about the rest. It's pure tunnel vision, and they commit everything. They could have popped Harsman right there with the ultimate, but they step so far forward to try and get Shogun that you're just stuck in this spot, and Pun and Guri just knock you around. So
yeah, think about that. They burnt the Scion ultimate. They burnt the Event Horizon. They ended up burning the Veigar ultimate. They burnt the Lee Sin ultimate. They burnt Rano P's ultimate and Flat. Like they burnt like 4 ultimates, and that's what it took to kill Shogun. And they had nothing left for the remainder of the fight. So props to Saigon Buffalo being able to punish again. They have 3 more players that are capable of carrying the game if you put that much into Shogun. You still have to be very cautious if you're Cerberus Esports.
It's such a strange decision. They don't have to blow up Shogun. Shogun's strong, sure, but they can absolutely fight. They can absolutely fight front to back. They can just drop the ultimate from Yado into Guri. Blow up that jungle.
Hosman's got an insane angle. Okay, there we go.
Hosman and Froggy are keeping them out.
I love these two. They're doing great. All right, now Shogun's going to start up the Baron, which is fine. It's a 3v3 more than anything. Hosman's got this insane angle to be able to kind of come into River from that bottom side. And Froggy's actually going to push up bot lane, which is insane. Yeah, there's a massive wave collapsing, and they have to be very, very respectful of what Froggy's going to be able to do here because they won't be able to catch him, basically. So now, I mean, Cerberus, are they really committing for this? Do you have TPs? Nobody else can TP. Yeah, they have to back off. There's one already backing, but they're going to lose at least one Nexus Tower, almost certainly. Zaya and Rakan. Actually, Rano P decides to stay just because you don't want to actually lose that. Get the tower. Okay, there's the tower. Now the Baron buff. They don't have Artemis. Like, they don't have a team fighter. They're down one whole member. Now they're going to be able to go after. Pun is going to be able to run away. I feel like they committed too much to the fight right there. They should have just stayed on the Baron. It was down to like 5,000 health or something like that. Okay, now they're just going to walk out completely. They did get that bottom Nexus Tower, which means that one bad fight, and it is the death of Cerberus. There is nothing keeping them back in this game, basically, at all. As next dragon is going to be available, they could rotate over to that, look to even up the dragon number at 3.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be the case, because that should be just a pretty easy pickup. Shogun will melt through that in no time at all. This is another 7 dragon game.
Yes.
Feels so. We are in for a long haul. It's 35 minutes, so definitely not the longest by any means. Here comes the engage.
Okay, the ultimate from Pun is able to deny the hook from Taki right there, because I was there. Yeah, you can call me Spoods right now, because I want to eat my food. I have food readily available, and I can't eat until the series is over, so...
It is 2:47 in the morning.
If anyone ever had... Yeah, for 2:47 in the morning, never say never say that the VCS English crew has not suffered for this region, because we have suffered more than anyone else in this region.
We have gone from absolute goblin hours in rebel territory to absolute goblin hours in my territory.
That's true, yeah. From 4 a.m. my time to 2 a.m. Mari's time. Oh, okay. And they back off again. They don't want to coin flip with Drakthar.
And that's
Shogun's
fair.
Gonna pick it back up.
With the execute on the Q, it's very dangerous to try and 50-50 against the Lee Sin.
They're trying to get some kind of pull with
Froggy on the flanks. If an Event Horizon lands, they can absolutely detonate someone, but they don't want to step too far forward.
Taki landing a hook onto anybody would be a really, really big play. And I think Cerberus has to pay a lot of respect to that as well, which is this weird dichotomy that, again, if Yado ends up getting too far close and you end up with an Event Horizon, that means somebody's executed. But on the opposite side, Taki's hook means you're basically executed as well, as they're going to try to set up more across the map. Pun is on the bottom side with TP readily available to go and take care of things. You have to push out bot lane as far as you can. Going to leave it right in the middle, dead center. Against that siege minion will end up not mattering all that much. In fact, I think it'll actually end up stacking, which is why Pun stays just a little bit longer, knowing that they're not going to be able to step up into Baron Pit quite yet without a TP response. That's Artemis. Artemis is just out of position. What in the world was that? Artemis runs directly into Taki, who is going to get executed. Now Drakthar is in a little bit of trouble. That's Artemis taking half the health bar.
Oh, that was huge!
That's an execute on Artemis! Now Drakthar goes in as well, goes into zone. He's trying to buy a little bit of time, find something. Shogun out the back of the fight. Q is not going to be able to do anything, but it is going to mean that Shogun gets traded for Drakthar, as that's going to be Froggy and Hosmed. 1, 2 to 3. Yado's alive, like you had said. They have a carry remaining. They have the ability to do this. If they wanted to, Cerberus versus Saigon. Here we go. Hosmed's getting chased down. See if they can actually find something. Hosmed is absolutely massive right now on this Renekton, stuck against a rock in a hard place.
So hard to catch. Froggy as well. Then he's just so hard to latch onto. Pun's going to try and cut off Hosmed. They want to kill the crocodile.
Slides, dips, dashes out of nowhere. Gets away. Trying to pop his Guardian Angel right now.
Still have
That's going to be Froggy landing a little bit. They didn't even get him through that ultimate. Don't have the damage for it. Hosmed sneaks out. Goodness gracious. Heroes in a number of people playing hero in this game, which is just
Froggy
insane
got
to
it!
think
Oh, no,
about.
no, he didn't. Never mind.
I don't think he did. Yeah, he did not. Froggy's still messing with these two, though, that's wild to me. They're preventing the backs from Pun and from Yato to the best of their abilities because now Guri can come back out. When Shogun comes back out, they can maybe look at Baron. This was Artemis. I thought Artemis was dead to rights. Instead, Artemis pops the Featherstorm, is able to get out of dodge as fast as possible. And then this. I'm watching Shogun.
Beautiful.
What happened to Shogun as well? That's Artemis. That was gorgeous. Yeah, absolutely. And then Drakthar gets in the middle of everybody. Run-Up, he gets in the middle of everybody. And that's how Shogun ends up getting brought down. Flash Q from Drakthar actually gets a kill onto Shogun, which would have been the death sentence in this fight had that not been the case. Woo.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, huge Everfrost from Froggy and the instant recognition by Guri. That was just perfect. If that doesn't happen, Cerberus pretty much slam dunk that team fight. But it probably all looks very different anyways. Okay, Pun now. It's Cerberus on the dragon, on the Baron. Will they be the aggressive ones? They're gonna finish it.
Okay, they're gonna look at Pun. Pun is not going to disrupt it. That's Guri, who's trying to find a bunch of members, and now the rest of the team can't even follow up. He's just going to die as Cerberus gets the Baron.
Oh no, is this the turn?
There's
so much gold to take on the map. It's 40 minutes. The gold is kind of getting to the point where it doesn't mean all that much, but Buffalo
is this a base race? Are we going to end up with a base race right now? Because Froggy's here on the top side, and that's Pun in the mid lane. They might just have to leave and try to make a defense happen around this bottom side because there's just too much. With all the AP that Yato has, he just shreds towers on this Vigar. So you can see both bot laners. Yeah, this is terrible. Guri's not going to be up for 24 more seconds. They're trying to push this game out. Done right here, right now. That's 2 coming back into the base. Pun is not going to be here for a hot second. That means that they've got time. Shogun has to stay up. We'll see whether or not they're able to actually collapse onto him. Front to back, can they do it? Drakthar gets pulled off to the side. Pun is going to be in the face of Shogun right now. Drakthar nearly gets dropped down. Now Pun is going to be taking all of the auto attacks from Shogun as well. And Shogun nearly brings down Pun. Has to go into Zonius to make sure that that's not going to happen. Yato drops an ultimate. Is going to get blocked out by Froggy Zonius as well. And now everybody is low on both teams. Kind of have to scatter. No close to the game coming through here. Instead, both teams
could count them off.
I don't think they're going to do that. Yeah, they're not going to make that play happen. Instead, they'll take their inhibitor. They'll walk away. As this game, it's still 7K advantage for Saigon Buffalo, but it is anyone's game for sure. One bad fight will lead to the end of your base between these two squads. And again, to reiterate importance of this one, Cerberus is trying to maintain second place. I think they are deservedly in second place. They have looked great all split. And Saigon Buffalo, this is a team we had much higher expectations for. This is what we were expecting from them. Very, very solid levels of play against the second best team. We expect them to be this competitive walking into the end of the split, but Cerberus is trying to put their foot down and say, we are not going to lose at this point in the season to you.
It's actually insane. There was an angle for SGB to try and get that, to pick up that Cloud Soul, but they ignore it completely because they know Baron is up for another minute. If they vacate their base for too long, that could be a disaster. So right now, this dragon is going completely ignored, but 4,000 gold has been picked up by Cerberus. They have equalized a lot of items, and these team fights, it's just going to be one team fight. It's just going to be who can play it better. Yato has 1,400 AP.
Yes.
He is hitting.
He's a beast. He is a beast right now. Has fully maxed out. Level 18. Has the barrier as well. Doesn't have flash, but does a barrier for this defensive kind of stand. And again, notice that Cerberus isn't going for the dragon either. They're trying to make the most of this Baron, trying to get as much gold back as possible. Yato and Artemis are both juiced to hell right now as your 2 main damage dealers. You have to find Shogun in a fight, and you have to make sure Hosmed cannot just stand on top of 5 members, but Hosmed's damage has slowly trickled away as the game has gone on. Froggy still on these massive flanks, too. It's just been insane. What a pull under Drakthar, trying to find something. Run up, he disrupts it. They're going to be able to find Guri almost certainly at the beginning of this fight. As Shogun's going to be auto-attacking down Pun to the best of their ability. Drakthar kicks him away! And that's going to be him going down. That's going to be the end of the game, almost certainly right there. Froggy's going to try to cut the wave. Hosmed's still up as well with the Guardian Angel, but I do not think they care. All they have to do is deliver a top wave into something. Pun is massive. Drakthar's massive. They're going to be able to look here. They're trying to find the Nexus turret. They're going to get it without a wave. And now can they make the defense happen? Hosmed's trying to get into the backline. He's going to get blown up. He has the Guardian Angel, but I think they're going to pick him right as he comes back out. And Froggy getting knocked up by Pun. They're going to drive away as Cerberus makes a comeback happen.
That was so close for so long. Buffalo had team fight after team fight. They had it in the bag, but they just couldn't close it out. A fumble around the Baron. Artemis and Yato get online. They get to scale into that late game, and Pun was a little guy, but he became big, and when he was big, they couldn't deal with him. It just took too long for the Buffaloes, and the late game, the clutch factor from Cerberus shined through.
Listen, the team fights were played out immaculately on both sides a number of different ways. There were so many team fights that kind of went back and forth. But the hero of this game is Drakthar, and I'm not saying that as the like. First off, we've been posturing and being like, okay, bring Ego in, right? Like Ego's the least sim player. He's got better early game. Like this guy's got that game right there was Drakthar flexing the mechanical muscles and saying, hey, you need Shogun delivered on a silver platter. Let me do it. I'll do it. And he did it 4 times. 4 separate team fights he gets on top of Shogun, forces him out, prevents him from doing damage, knocks him into the rest of the team, gets him killed. Insane clutch performance from Drakthar to get Cerberus another win, get them sole possession of second. And Saigon, they fall to 3-5. They're way better than 3-5, but goodness gracious, they need to start winning series.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw the duality of Drakthar as in that early game. He just kind of, we didn't see a hell of a lot from the Lee Sin. Guri ran it and built that almost like 12k gold lead, and then it just couldn't quite hang on to it. No. And even then, even at the end of the game, it was still a significant gold advantage to the side of the Buffalo. But 42, pretty much 43 minutes, the gold didn't matter at that point. Look at the damage being pumped out by both these teams. They just wailed on each other all game. And God, yeah, Buffalo, like, at least it's Cerberus you're losing to, and you can say, oh, it's a top 2 team, it's a top 2 team, that's okay. We took it really, really close.
Yes.
But, man, 3-5 feels wrong for the former number 2, the MSI, the world's representatives of the VCS. With the non-changed roster. Sure, they lost Ren and some support stuff, but...
And they swapped out BJ. That's another thing, which is...
Yeah, they swapped out BJ, but BJ was bad at the start of the split.
Well, again, you have to think about what considerations need to be made, which is that, like, again, Guri has not necessarily been the problem for Saigon, but also, like, BJ has experience, is still one of the better players in the league. If BJ ends up leaving Saigon, he's going to another roster. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that that's happening. So, like, at what point is it that, like, you say, okay, Guri might be doing well in scrims, we need to try out BJ again? That's something that Saigon Buffalo has to answer, because not only is it that you don't want to fall out of playoffs, which would be a tragedy, but falling down into relegations is a very real possibility if Flash is performing at top level and Secret actually ends up coming back and performing at any level. That's the fear that you've got if you're Saigon Buffalo. But forgetting them for a bit, I want to give a bunch of congratulations to Cerberus. I think they've been playing super, super good League of Legends. Drakthar fighting for his life with Ego sitting behind him and honestly kind of coming out on top. I think maybe that's the fire that needed lit so that he would start kind of popping off the way that we know that Drakthar has been able to in previous splits on other rosters. And Cerberus is coming together as a cohesive unit for the first time in what seems like years.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, there's still some inconsistencies with Yado and in the early game, but it feels like that they definitely don't collapse. They don't collapse when the games are falling behind. They can clutch it out like that. In the first game, they brought it really close. It was another 40 plus minute game. So they're not conceding. They're not saying, oh, we have started to lose. We've started to lose. We give up this game. That spirals into we lose the series. That spirals into we have a terrible back half of the split. This is a much more solid mental game in this roster. They feel a lot more cohesive. They feel a lot better. It might not be enough to beat Garn, but it might be enough to take them to Worlds.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to close us out here on our first day for VCS Week 5. I think it was an exciting day of games with some wild games that I wouldn't have expected. I think Flash did a great job in our first series against GAN, even though GAN came out with a 2-0. And the fact that Saigon and Cerberus are so competitive could lead to two teams being right there in terms of their playoff competition. So we'll get a chance to see more tomorrow. I think we've got Box versus GAM. So we GAM 2 days in a row somehow. And Wales versus SPTCE, which is that's our third and our fourth place teams playing right there. So whatever team loses that one, right in striking position for Saigon, Flash, or Secret to be able to jump back in. I've been Rebel Fox, Mobby. Thanks for joining me. It's been an amazing job. I know you're up super late, so we're sorry for that.
You got up super early. It still works out.
Yeah, I got up super early. That evens out to a normal schedule, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And of course, our
exactly.
producer Spoods, who is hungry and also falling asleep on broadcast as well. So props to them. Props to both of you. We'll see you again tomorrow.